Oh man, we got the whole squad here?
Ah, shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, so
Okay, I think we're good.
the last time we left our intrepid group of adventurers, they all had found themselves traveling west down the main merchant road that would eventually get them to the coastal city of Europe, the capital of the empire. About halfway on their journey, they found themselves about a mile, 3 miles or so outside of Terranford, which is a large farming community. It's like pretty much the meat and potatoes that supports the expansion of the empire and the people in it. Like a lot of the food that goes throughout the empire is grown and cultivated in Terranford. Unfortunately, some really nasty cold rains had been coming in over the last couple of days, and there was one of these nights where, one of these days where it sort of cleared up, and the party took advantage of this and went out for a hunt. Successful in their endeavors, they come back to find that Zafril had been attacked surprisingly by an abomination that had snuck up on him, and it wasn't until later that afternoon where Njal decided to go into town, which would only be a couple-hour trip to get some supplies before you all decided to get back out onto the road. So Njal left, and through his journey there, was riding in the most torrential rain, barely locking his arms into a fixed position because of the how much he clenches his arms as he rides the ox into town. And upon his approach, you see he saw like a lot sort of commotion in the streets and a large bell sort of being rang off in the distance, ding, 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 and just to keep ringing as you made your way in town and realized that the entirety of this entire town was just crawling with these abominations, some like failing to even actually use their legs to walk and choose to instead pull themselves like they're crawling through a barbed wire fence at boot camp. You were able to get yourself stuck inside with a lot of the some of the residents that had barred themselves in what looked to be some sort of business. And as you looked out, you realize it's going to be pretty treacherous. Later that night, later that day, the next day though, Saffron wakes up to Njal not being by her side, and realizing very, very quickly that he never came back last night. So, with much haste, the party picked up their things, went into town, and tried to investigate. When they got there, investigating was hard. One, because it seemed like all the people of the town were barricaded up in these buildings, and any amount of like tracks to follow in the mud on the ground around you were just riddled with footprints going all sorts of every direction, and it which added to the stress of not being able to find Njal. But it wasn't until you found an individual named Samuel, who was able to sort of, I guess, not really help too much, but gave some clarity to the situation. The party decided that they were going to continue traveling west in search of Njal or anything that would give them a hint of how to find him. And it wasn't until about halfway through the day, because of Hendrickson's, I don't know if you'd call it irresponsible driving, get some bad luck, and a part of the axle was destroyed on the mobile home. And because of this, you decide to pull off and take a break to have everyone sort of warm up, drink some tea, and have some mama stew or something like that. I can't remember. It was broth or something.
Oh, it was it was mammoth steak with rice and with rice and mammoth steak cooked in warm ale.
Yes. So
So,
it wasn't much longer though until you felt the mobile home rocking and clunking back and forth to discover a whole swarm of these abominations had surrounded the mobile home on either side. 20 or 30. It was a disgusting amount with the pinkish looking flesh that drooped and sagged in places where it shouldn't. After making swift of these enemies, an oncoming threat was charging like a magnetic train, just bulleting to your guys' point, and it wasn't towards the last second as essentially an axe is flying in one of the faces of the party. You notice a very pale blue, like deathly, to be honest, visage of Njal with a clouded white over eyes that only really revealed a slight orangish iris instead. After a very intense, grueling fight, you guys were able to momentarily keep Njal restrained by knocking him out and tying him up with rope and chain. After the fight, everyone was able to sort of take their deep breaths and gain some of their composure that they could. A lot of people sort of licking their wounds because not only did some people get messed up physically, but a lot of the magics that would have been used to help heal this injuries away were just not available. So we are going to be picking up right up at the top at the next day. You guys more or less wake up rather early. Let's say it's about 7 o'clock in the morning, and the sun is just starting to come up and break. So you kind of see the light blues sort of dance on the horizon in front of you, and the clouds today, if you take a look, probably looks like rain. You're probably going to have a couple hours of some peace, but then it's just going to go straight back into the rain. So, with that being said, what do you all want to do?
Saffron is, she didn't sleep much. Even with how exhausted she was before and after the battle. She set up a her canvas tent to cover Njal from the weather. So instead of having it in the front, she's now moved it to the back of the mobile home, and she created a small fire next to him, and she's just keeping an eye on him.
Yeah, and you look over at Njal, and much of his same complexion that I described in the prior day is still very much present. Can you make a perception check or medicine check, which one you want to do?
Okie dokie, artichoke. Let's see here. Let me see. Both are the same, so it doesn't matter, and I am tending his wounds, so we'll go with a 18.
18 total? Oh, sorry, I was muted. 18 total?
Yeah, yes?
Okay,
Let me see.
So, as you are sort of like looking him up and down, and again re-examining the wounds that you took a look at yesterday, just to see if there's like any sign of infection, and you sort of start cleaning them up. One thing you immediately notice, you see like in corners of like where his arm bends, like maybe in his elbow, portions by his neck, like stretch mark, like scars almost. And you realize his physique is like maybe like he looks like he's probably 50 or 60 pounds heavier. Like he just is like more dense, and it's at this point you like kind of put your hand on his cheek, and it's like cold to the touch, like you're touching a corpse. And you see like two tusks that he had there prior are now maybe like an inch or so longer that are definitely more pronounced in his sort of the way his face is built.
As she's like, patting his head dry and, changing his wounds and seeing all of this, she just sighs as she runs the cloth over his forehead, and she just goes, "The corruption's moving your orc DNA. It's like it's overtaking you." She just kind of sighs and, she finishes everything before she and leaves to go inside the mobile home.
Okay. My fiance reminded me that I was muted. So, as you go inside, Njal, what's like in the state you are right now? Have you ever watched Get Out before? That movie?
No,
Shoot.
I don't think so. Hold on.
No, imagine sitting in a movie theater of your mind, and you're the only guest, and what the screen is what you're looking at, but it's not originating from you, if that makes sense. As you're sitting in there, what's like the one word that's keeping your humanity tied to this moment? Like what's the thing that keeps cycling back and forth that makes it so whatever it is that's trying to consume you doesn't swallow you whole?
Sovereign.
And as you watch her walk away, you're unable to move your head to look at her. It's just the sinking feeling of like hopelessness just starts to become overwhelming, and so you cling tight to the love that you know is just arm lengths away. Zafriel and Endless, what are you guys doing?
Zafriel is going to prepare a surgical station to see if he can try to fence Hendrix inside.
In the chat?
You're quiet.
You're super quiet.
Yeah.
I'm quiet?
No.
No.
Tuckaroo.
I can't hear him
Hello?
at all or see him.
Better.
Oh, you
Oh,
can.
crap.
Are you doing
And
Is it happening to Endless? Bummer. I know how
Yeah, I was dealing with a thing pretty much since this call started.
Yeah, I
you're
noticed your camera was like all screwy.
Zafriel, I was just asking what you were doing in this moment. The morning, you have like you wake up about right before the sun rises, and it's a good brisk 34. There's a bit of a breeze, and there's probably going to be rain in a couple hours.
Zafriel is going to start preparing a surgical station to see if he can try to do anything about Hendrickson's eye.
Oh boy. All right. So how do you set up the space?
I'm just going to fashion a chair, like from the wagon, and just prepare a couple of tables with cloths over them, clean all the tools.
Okay. You notice Siegfried is sitting like maybe 5 feet away from you, just kind of like, not necessarily in a protective sort of way, but like in a sort of like concerned way, if you will. He's just close. And after you kind of like wave out the tablecloth and put it over a series of boards and barrels, and are able to sort of make a journey, if you will. Hendrickson makes his way over, and overnight, he sort of complains that he didn't get much sleep. Hendrickson has a point of exhaustion. Because of the injury he had to his eye, he wasn't able to really sleep much last night. And you see now, it's much more puffy and swollen than it was yesterday. So,
Okay, I'm gonna have to check my inventory real quick.
Sure. Endless, Zafriel is just setting up a space for Hendrickson so he can check out his eye.
okay, sorry, I was fighting with Discord. Now I can see everybody and I can hear everybody. That was a process. Holy shit.
Welcome back.
Is there, Saffron, I approach Saffron.
She's in the mobile home.
So that's kind of like. Saffron, you hear in the middle. You're in the middle of maybe preparing some tea when you hear the door knock.
She's just kind of sitting there for a minute, and she takes a deep breath, like she has to put on a face. She's gripping the cup pretty tight, and she just sits down and she cracks her neck and she clears her throat, and she just opens the door, putting on a front, and she goes, Zephyriel, how can I help you?
Well, actually, there are some herbs that I need to have gathered to potentially give some type of sedation to Hendrickson. I'm going to try to fix his eye. And then, with your permission, maybe try to see what I can do to Njal.
She, something definitely seems off with her. You can't tell if either she's just tired or drunk, but she does look exhausted. She kind of looks over to the direction where Njal would be. She kind of stutters and stumbles some of her words, and she goes, "Yeah, I can. Let me get that. I can get that for you."
I would just like to, would I know of any type of herbs that would be used in medicine that would knock you out, like narcotics?
I don't know if you'll be able. You probably have to go into a town for something like that specific, but like there are, you're aware of like some herbs that you even use for your salves that you make. Yeah, really, the best thing you're going to be able to, like, depending on how well Saffron can find ingredients, the best outcome is essentially the equivalent of, like, a Tylenol 800. You know what I mean?
Alright. Well, whatever you can find would be very helpful.
At this point, Angelus walks up to both Zephyriel and Zaffron and says, Zephyriel, what can I do to help? And I'm holding my shoulder. What can I do?
We're going to need to find a way to put Hendrickson to sleep.
Okay, and I know usually I'd crack a
I'm
joke
going to try to come up with some medicine with Saffron's help to help with the pain a little bit. If we can get him asleep somehow.
It's at this point you hear, how close to the mobile home did you set up your little medical procedure place?
I'd say it's relatively close, just in case if it rains.
You just hear him call out, "Sire, I'll be fine. Please, I don't wish to be any more of a hindrance." And you just see him sort of get up and sit on top of the table. Endless, as you look back, he reveals, he starts like kind of unwinding his like bandages and stuff. And as he removes it, you see that like some of the skin has like kind of gone really like a dark purple, almost looks black. Maybe it's the lighting. It looks pretty fucked though, and you notice that there is definitely swelling. Like most of his face, like at least half of it, is just kind of puffed out a bit. His eye though is shut closed, so you're not able to see the eyeball.
Young man, you lay right back down on that table before I have Jeffrey tie you down.
You see him go to laugh, but then like he winces in the pain and just slowly lies himself back down. And he grabs the stick that you let him put in his mouth yesterday and just sits there with it in his hand.
Well, the fact of the matter is, Hendrickson is going to lose use of that eye if I don't get to it soon.
I only know really one conventional way of putting somebody to sleep.
Well, the thing is, with the amount of impact he had, I would be surprised if he had a concussion as well. I don't want to do any more damage to him than is necessary to.
I'll see.
Agree.
She kind of stumbles again. She's her words, and she goes, I will go see if I can find any herbs."
All right, Saffron. Can you make either a survival or investigation check? It's going to be at disadvantage though because of how preoccupied you are with Null and what is happening.
Sure, sure, sure. So it's gonna be a 10.
10. You take you start picking up some of the herbs like absent-mindedly, like almost like robotically, getting the task done like you've done many times before, and you start picking up enough for that's going to be okay for a little stint, but you decide to like maybe pick up a couple more, and it's in this moment that like you just hope Zafril can help Null, because if he can't, who knows how close the next person who can. And if this really sinks into your chest and goosebumps overwhelm you as you feel like coldness from the air start to blow down your neck, as well as the sensation of sadness being emerged down your body, like as if you're being submerged into a pool. But successfully, you make your way back about 20 minutes later, and Zafril and Endless, you notice Saffron coming up with mats.
Oh, thank the gods. Thank you.
Of course, friend. She hands it to him and she goes, "I hope he'll be okay." And she doesn't look at Henderson. She doesn't even look Zafril in the eyes. She just kind of goes over to the tent and looks at Null to make sure to see that he's still is he still how he was left.
Yeah, and in fact, he hasn't moved a single bit. He just is sitting there catatonic, essentially. Every once in a while, you see like a little bit of a twitch, or maybe like an eye will barely blink, but he's pretty much just sitting there, eyes open, just like.
She'll tell Siegfried to keep an eye on him, and she goes back into the mobile home, and after she takes off her gear, she kind of just stands there, and she's just looking down at the floor, and it's almost like that sound of like her ears are ringing, and then suddenly, just in a rid of phase, she just punches the wall, and then punches it and punches it and punches it till there's blood starting to show, and she just looks at her hands and punches again, and then she falls to her knees and she just grips the small table as she lets out like the most silent, horrifying scream that no one can hear. She doesn't want anyone to know. Before she just sits there, kind of like this, looking down at the ground, shaking, and she gets up and she wraps her hand before taking a big gulp of her strongest meat and going into the bed.
Yeah. And, just for a moment, the intensity of the alcohol flavor is enough for you to be momentarily at peace with the feeling of this burden you're carrying. But it doesn't last long as you start to kind of curl up in your bed and maybe throw a log or two back in your furnace. So, Zafro, you've successfully prepared the concoction you'll be using for the pain that Hendrickson will be experiencing. Is there anything else you'd like to do? You also have Endless at your disposal. He's just kind of in the area, willing to help.
Endless. I could probably use some help. Either with handing tools or preparing doses of the medicine.
Anything that you need.
Let me see what I've got available to me.
Oh, and she just GM for details.
Sure.
The blood stain on her wall, she did not wipe that, so that's just gonna be there.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Noted. Also, I'll take this moment to just sort of remind everybody. Both sides of the wagon are splattered with blood, and it's mostly the party's blood. But every once in a while, you do see a couple of like little black little splurts, and this would be the blood from the abominations.
Fairness.
Oh, and
It's
also,
probably mostly.
yeah, the axle is still broken too, so that's something we can't forget about.
Yep.
All right, so Zafril, Endless, you together with his and sort of instruction, you sort of use a mortar and pestle, and kind of powderize some herbs and diluting others in water, and you're able to essentially finish the setup for the procedure. Zafril, please describe what first move you want to do, and I'll have you roll a surgeon's tools check at advantage because of Anglus's help.
Zafriel leans over the table and speaks to Hendrickson. Okay, what's going to happen here is going to be quite terrifying. I'm going to work on your eye, or at least the surrounding area, and we won't be able to knock you out. But we do have... I'm able to heal you 3 times.
He
But-
like interrupts you and like kind of jolts up just enough to like be able to kind of grab you on the collar by your shirt. Please save it for Noel. And he just kind of like leans back down and like puts the stick back in his mouth and looks to Endless for whatever it is you're gonna help with the pain.
What I am trying to say, Hendrickson, I'm going to strap your arms to the bottom of the table. We can't have you move at all. Are you okay with this?
He just kind of puts his arms to the sides.
I bind his hands and legs to the table.
Should find his head too.
You're familiar with this? You have a specific knot that you use. This is not something uncommon to you. As you go around Hendrickson's person and one by one strap down each appendage and additionally his head to sort of keep it in place.
Okay. But the idea here is to just try to rebuild the skin, and if there's any cracks in the bones, to provide some type of I don't even know how this type of...
Like screw it together, or whatever.
Yeah,
Rebuild it.
as much as possible, if not at least provide some type of way to where at least can prevent any further damage.
Okay.
I'm trying my best here.
Try a surgeon's tools check with advantage because of Endless. Endless, how do you want to help as he's like trying to cut him up and stuff? How do you want to be assisting?
With anything that Zafriel needs, and so if he needs me to hand him tools or dosages, I'm going to do that. And while Zafriel's kind of setting up, I'm going to walk up and put my hand in Hendrix's and tell him, that, okay, like, we're going to get you through this, and if you need to squeeze, you squeeze. You understand me?
He just like, he kind of grabs you as best he can because of where his wrist is affixed to the table. He kind of, but he does so. He kind of grabs your wrist, and he's already squeezing rather tight. And it's at
I would
this
let
moment,
go of that.
At this moment, you like kind of have this little sort of touchstone, like I'm here for you. You just see like a big tear start to well up in just like one of the eyes, and the other, you don't really see anything forming because of the swelling. But he looks
15 though.
15. So, over the next 15 minutes, Saffron, as much of a state that you're in, it's hard to ignore the blood-curdling screams coming outside of your mobile home. You've never heard someone scream in so much pain, and if you're curious, anytime you look out the window, you just see endless like in a very supportive way, pinning him down because the straps are only so effective. And you see Zafriel just like every once in a while just kind of wipe his brow. Zafriel, you're able to insert screws and whatever you need to be able to kind of rebuild part of the bone above his eyebrow and his cheekbone. It's definitely going to be deformed, like when it heals, but like it should be okay. However, the sight, it's hard to say. A part of you wants to believe that dumping some divine magic into him might help, but you also find yourself at a crossroads of like, you're not sure if he's going to be able to see or not, and it's up to you what you do next.
I start to clean up the area, and I very gingerly untie the ropes. Hendrickson, you still need to stay here. We're just going to let you have use of your arms again.
Yeah, you see him like kind of losing consciousness just from the pain and the screaming, you know, just he kind of keep going like in and out a little bit.
I'm going to use healing hands on him, which will restore 6 hit points, and I concentrated on the area of the site.
Okay. You sort of place your palm down on the brow of his face and sort of gently lay your hand on it. You start to channel that divine warm feeling that you know so well from Cord, and the spirit, the literal embodiment of the fighting spirit into Hendrickson. As your palm begins to heat up and glow with a divine light, you watch as Hendrickson sort of winces once more, and just kind of like, and then just kind of looks like he's slightly relieved. As you remove your palm, like that might have helped, but there's going to need to be a period of recovery, and until that point has been reached, it's going to be really hard to tell. Like,
right, it was mainly just to satiate pain to at least allow him to relax a little bit.
Which that seemed to do the trick.
Zafriel just falls down on his ass.
Hendrickson just kind of lies there silently.
At this point, like I'm still holding Hendrix's hand, and I put my hand on his shoulder, and I tell him, like, "You're gonna be all right, because if who else's tab am I gonna charge a bunch of drinks to?"
I'm just saying, from a medical experience, you grabbing him without any painkiller, he broke your hand. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I've seen pregnant women break men's hands, like giving childbirth.
Alright, let's say your pinky is like totally dislocated, dude.
Yeah, like,
it's like totally squished, you know? You'll just have to kind of tie some sticks together and just kind of, you know, maybe...
I was gonna say for Zafriel, if you ever have any medical questions, Elder's your best person to ask if you ever need anything.
resident nurse right here, man.
Yeah.
If y'all are sick, come ask.
Yeah. I'll keep that in mind when I'm asking about eye procedures.
Yeah, honestly, I was like thinking the whole time. I was like, aseptic technique is out the fucking window.
I was trying to. I didn't want to interrupt because I was like trying to put my finger up because I wanted to tell you to ask him before that happened. But next time.
I was like, y'all were like, oh, we need a natural, and I was like, opium. Opium is literally made from plants. I was like, this literally, you said it is from plants.
Yeah,
there were none in this area. Now we know.
Yeah. That's just my nurse and me.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Someone has to, like, one day, you know, you're going to role play a genius, and people are going to secretly realize behind the screen that you're not actually that smart, but you have to, like, pretend like you're smart, and that's all that matters.
Can I say, Cole, that whole medical procedure was fucking intense, and I was like tearing up. Like, fuck you.
You almost had me crying when you said the tab thing. I was like, y'all need to stop.
I mean, like, you did it perfectly. The cloths over the table and then cleaning the tools. I was like, my man, he knows.
So, as the moment passes, Hendrickson is given some time just to sort of lie there. He's given a blanket so he can just kind of chill. Eventually, about 20 minutes later, with assistance either from Siegfried or anyone who'd be willing to walk him over to the wagon that you have.
Siegfried would help.
He's just gonna rest in your guys' wagon. At this point, after all has been said and done, we'll say it's about 9 o'clock or so. And for those who haven't eaten for the day, start to dip those hungry tummies. And Zavriel and Endless, as you make your way back to the wagon. Now, in my mind, Null is sort of like tied to the mobile home in some fashion, right?
Sideways.
Okay.
He's hanging sideways on the back end.
Oh, like that,
like horizontal, like this?
Yeah, he's horizontal right now.
Yeah. Okay.
That's not what I imagined. That is,
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sure, that works. Why the fuck not? Zafirul and Endless, you walk up to where Null is affixed to the side of the mobile home, and like flashes in both of your minds play back in your face, witnessing Null fucking full-on splitting Saffron's short sword in half, just with the amount of resistance he was able to make with his axe in that moment. Or Zafirul, watching yourself like just fucking nail him straight in the forehead. That would have cleaned someone's clock if they were any other person except for Null. And you see at this point his body start to, I mean, like I described earlier, every once in a while it would jerk, but both of you notice the rate at which he is sort of jerking about is beginning to become more restless.
Endless. I need to talk.
Go for it. What?
Who?
Endless, sorry.
Go ahead, dog.
I was just going to ask, can I make a medicine or investigation check?
For what? What do you want to find out?
Anything that might possibly help us like narrow down what's going on with them and how we can help.
Yeah, I'd also allow a history check because of your past with working.
I was actually about to just bring that up.
Also, you can also use Jeffrey to help hold him down if you need to. Boy makes webs.
Oh, now you're aboard the spider train.
I'm just saying, if you want to deal with Null getting out, I mean you guys are there. You do you, boo.
I'm gonna be. To be fair, I didn't think of that at all.
At this moment, Null's just like, "Argh."
Yeah.
And Endless.
Good.
The only idea I have of possibly saving Null. Do you remember the first time that we extracted the plague out of the child?
Yes.
That leaves a risk for death for sure. But if that happens to be the same thing, maybe we can try to get it out. That's the only thing I can think of. And I'm having to work on barrels.
Yeah, can I roll for investigation looking for something?
Yeah, sure.
Because
if you wanna give
I'm
him
proficient.
That's fine. If you want to give him a good look down, you're gonna want to get him off of the wagon because you can only see like parts of his upper body and a part of his arm that are like exposing his skin where it's not wrapped in rope or chain. So like, do you want to make a check with him bound, or do you want to get him in a position where he can get a good look at what's going on? It'll check the DC of how high the check is.
He's off the wagon. Is it lower?
I mean,
because right now he's like horizontally tied to the wagon. So like you can inspect parts of his front body that are not being, that are exposed, that aren't being wrapped up with rope or chain, or alternatively you could get him down and get a closer look.
All right, let's get him down.
Well, get Jeffrey ready then. Because
Yes, Jeffrey.
I don't know if I can hold him down again.
Was
Jeffrey, I
Jeffrey in
want you to
that
be-
fight last session? I don't think he was.
Jeffrey just comes in and just looks at him, he's like, ooh. Starts rubbing all like 4 legs.
You see Jeffrey,
I'm
like, I was thinking it would be cool, like, you see him, like, come out of the ground, like, you know how some, like, those traps...
Yeah.
Trapdoor spiders,
So,
yeah.
in a similar
What the-
fashion,
Because
you see...
he does that because remember he does that because our first session where I slept was underground with Jeffrey.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, so Jeffrey...
So, yeah, no,
manifests
that's
in
cool.
space, and is just kind of by her side and just kind of clicks his little furry spider fangs at you.
With fire.
Jeffrey, if I yell at all, I want you to wrap him up as tightly as you can.
You
It
just
is
see-
like-
you just see his legs just go like, you know how people do that like little finger tap like that? Both legs on each side do it in unison. They just go.
Fuck that. Oh my god.
Good boy.
He just kind of scuttles into space. So what do y'all want to do?
I rolled an investigation check, but do you want me to re-roll since we took him off?
Yeah, I'll have you re-roll just because. So as you get him down, at the moment you start removing the rope and chain, you can't help but have a certain degree of anxiety start to build up after each restraint is removed, and you get to the point where Zafril's having to hold him up so you can continue to unwrap his body.
Oh no, I lost him. This is why we can't have nice things. Hang on, I'll be back.
I'll stop.
Okay, yeah, no, I hear you.
Okay, great. You get to the point where, for all intents and purposes, Njal is unbound. You sit him down, and he still appears to be in somewhat of a catatonic state. Even now, if what he wanted to get up and move, is sitting there very stoutwardly almost. Njal, in this moment, imagine that movie theater metaphor I painted for you.
Yeah.
Let's say it was a full movie theater. There's 16 rows, 20 chairs on each row. You see, like, in the corners of this space, if you will, start to sort of like dissolve away, like kind of like, you know, like Thanos snap style, just sort of like particleize. And at first it wasn't a major like concern to you until you realize at a certain point you intuitively make the connection of a sense of loss of self with the effect that's happening in the room. Almost like how things just make sense in a dream. You instantly know this, and as you look around, you see the screen, the display, if you will, that you're looking at is just a concerned Endless and Zafriel approaching you. You see Endless, like, every once in a while, like, kind of circle around you. What do you want to try and do in this moment?
Like, what can I do?
I don't know, you tell me, man.
So the theater's just kind of slowly, like a black void almost coming in from the corners.
Yeah.
Kind of okay.
And
So Nal's just
every couple of after X amount of space has been dissolved, the display you're looking at, your vision, is like getting lesser of quality, if you will.
Okay, and on the theater screen, it's kind of like a look through his eyes, like what the body's seeing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's like you're a passenger in the vehicle right now.
Okay. So Nal just is looking around frantically. No, not again. No.
Right,
And that's
right
it.
as you scream out, you watch as like Nal's body just kind of like flex and just kind of gets stuck in a very awkward position, as if like he's like being controlled by a voodoo doll, and he looks and you just start to see like veins bulging in his neck, and like I described earlier, now that the two of you are looking at Njal with him just sort of sitting there, let's say he's on the gurney right now that you've got him to, you see that like his physique is like definitely more so than what you remembered. And in fact, you do see like in areas of where the skin tends to bend, you see like slight stretch marks because the skin trying to like essentially contain the mass that now is inside of his body. What do
He
you
had big
guys
joy.
want to do? You see him just like flex, and then he goes limp, and you just hear him just yell out with like a rageful sort of like intent, "No!" And then there's just a moment after that, his limbs go to his side, and he is like kind of like back in that sort of catatonic state.
I would like to feel around his collarbone to see if that rod is there.
Oh, now at this point, Endless, make your investigation check. You can make a medical check to also.
Clavicle. It's called the clavicle.
Clavicle, that's right.
There you go.
The intention was there.
Anyways, what are your rolls, y'all?
Nice.
I got an 18.
18. Okay. Oh, poor Endless.
Decent.
Hey, Endless, if you want, you can roll dice if it will be
What?
easier on your computer.
Damn it, he's gone again.
He said you could roll dice if it's easier for you. Oh.
I got a 15 on the
Oh,
one.
perfect. Both of you rolled 15?
18 for me.
Okay. So, Zafril, you begin to like look in like, you know, spots that are like, you know, like sensitive. Like you check by the ribs, and you check by his throat, and by like major arteries, and you just kind of start looking, giving him a body examination. And Endless, as you make your way around, as not the crowd, what kind of clothes are you wearing right now, Noel?
I don't know what I would guess nothing. Like, with all the bulging muscles and all that, like, nothing that he wore would be on him now. So, kind of, I mean, like, pants and boots or whatever. Yeah, like, no shirt, like, no shirt. Maybe, like, some, like, ripped rags of his shirt that he was wearing or something.
Endless, you kind of remove, essentially, what was his shirt, but so much of it has been destroyed, whether by battle or by the events before you came in contact with him. Doesn't even pass as a crop top. So as you remove it, you notice by his spine, starting about like towards like between the shoulder blades, at his spine, you see two bulges on either side, and then in an arcing fashion all along, basically curving up and along the shoulder blades and deep into the shoulders themselves on the top by like the traps. You notice little bulges about, I would say, a half an inch in diameter underneath the skin. The odd thing is, though, you don't see any signs of scarring.
Zafriel, look at these.
Oh.
Zafriel, you look. There's like at a quick count, there's 12 rods. It seems like, or foreign objects, if you will, in his back.
This is disgusting!
Saffron, you hear yelling coming from outside as this happens. Endless, you watch one more time the body flex and sort of like reach out in a sort of like the way someone would reach out if they were trying to do anything but like lose their life. Like, you know, when someone's drowning, how it can be dangerous to save someone because they could potentially drown you too because of how much they're like freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
He grabs you by like the skirt of, excuse me, you're behind him, so it would be Zafriel. He grabs Zafriel right by the collar of his shirt, and he flex. And no, it's in this moment that like you're like what's it called? You're like in maybe a 6 by 6 foot space, as all around you is void and darkness, and the only feeling you get when you look into it is longing and the want for love. As you just, uh, as you look around you, the way in which you're able to see the outside world, you see now is much more blurrier, and even the sounds coming from the voices of your companions are at this point beginning to be muffled.
Okay. I have to see I have to see what it is. Keep him on his back. Let me go get my knives.
But we don't want to kill him either. We do.
We're not going to lose him.
He's clearly still there. The dead don't act like this.
You see the two initial at the bottom of the arc, the ones closest to the spine. You see the skin begin to turn a black, rotting sort of color on where the mounds are. And right when you notice that, you're like, that's strange. And right as you're about to mention something to Zafriel, the next one up starts to kind of turn a purple color. You're not sure what's happening, but it doesn't look good.
Zafriel, I agree. Let's get him out. I think maybe at this point, where he's still in there, maybe we have some time. Maybe this is a good thing. Let's get him out.
Zafriel leaps over back to the surgical table with the boots of leaping and striding, and grabs all of his tools and hops back. Okay. Zafriel's gonna start to make an incision on the one that is on one of the ones that have started the discolor.
Make a surgical tools.
Muted.
You're muted.
Oh.
Muted.
By the way, the word you would say for that is necros.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, as you start to just go for it, Endless, is there any way you want to try and help as to give him advantage?
So these are in Null's back, right?
Yeah, they kind of like, they go in like an arcing pattern starting from the spine and go follow the shoulder blades essentially onto the top of the shoulders.
Ooh, you picked like the worst area to medically operate on. The nerve, your spinal cord right there. Could be talk about if one nick and I'm a vegetable.
So at this point, I'm gonna make sure that Null is on his stomach, and I want Jeffrey to web his arms and his legs to the ground.
That's
Sure.
horrible.
Yeah. And Jeffrey does so. Saffron, there's enough commotion going on outside if you want to be able to notice any of this.
Because they're so busy, probably haven't noticed, but there is like no sounds coming from Saffron's mobile home. Not even a light anymore. So she's non-responsive.
Okay. So, as Jeffrey finishes webbing down the limbs of Null, please make a surgical tools check with advantage.
Please don't be a 1.
Oh no.
12 was the roll.
Oh, thank the gods.
So, as you spend the most grueling 15 minutes of your life, only really operating on a couple of people before, let alone this close to their spine, it's hard to keep your nerves at a manageable level. But you're able to remove half of the rods, and you notice the areas in which had the darkening of the skin seems damaged, but not irreversible, especially with your experience of disease and things of that nature. Now the next 6, please. If there's another way you would if there's another way you would like to help Endless to give him advantage, please do so.
What I do?
That's up to you. Whatever you think will help.
Hold his head still.
Hey, no metagaming.
I get up.
I'm just kidding.
I get up, and because I know that if Null comes free or starts wiggling, it's going to take everything I got, so I, like, straddle his head between my legs and just hold him.
Sure.
Perfect.
Okay.
Rocky.
Okay.
I couldn't help it. I was like, you gotta hold the head if you're near the spine.
So, Zafiril, you watch as Endless hops up onto the gurney and maneuvers himself in such a way where he is bound in a more, secure way. Even the way that he's holding him sort of like stretches some of the skin, which honestly, if we're going to be like real, this is already stretched pretty tight because of the muscular tone that his body seems to have. Please make a surgeon's tools check with advantage. See how the rest of this goes.
Ooh. Nice. Oh, yeah!
That's a 24.
Holy shit.
So, please describe what it looks like as you remove basically the last 3 from this side of the shoulder blade and the last 3 on this side of the shoulder blade.
Well, so this is going to be kind of a character move. I know it won't really help me, like, stat-wise or anything. The sheer thought that this is something that can happen to another, being on this plant material plane is incredibly sickening to Zafriel. After initially seeing how many he would have to remove, and then getting to this point, Zafriel goes into a rage.
Fuck yeah.
You see several of the scars on Zafriel's arms, and his eyes start to glow white as he just starts working with incredible efficiency. As
Animation.
Yeah,
Yep.
and one by one, there's like Endless. You notice like you kind of get goosebumps of the sudden intensity. It's an intensity you're familiar with, but in such a context is almost alien, and it throws you off. And he works with a speed and an aggressiveness that like is very impressive. Like, you've never really seen surgery done right in front of your eyes, unless if it was like your battlefield sort of wound that gets stitched up real quick just to get you on the road. This is pretty intense. But one by one, with the last one pulled out, Null, as you see, the display is completely gone, and imagine, if you will, if there's like a stadium light above your head, but the source of light is not like visible. You're just like sort of like in this beam of light, and as you look around you, you're on essentially what is the equivalent of a tile left. As some of the corners begin to break, you begin to really go to a dark, deep place. When suddenly the lights get turned on, and you make a con save for me.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna roll my dice. Whee. 19 plus 7, so 26.
Endless, you nearly fall off the table with Null as he falls forward, kind of like knocking you off, and you're able to sort of land on your feet. You land on your hands and knees, Null, as you begin to like cough and cough. And eventually your coughing turns into like a groan that just like almost sounds like something is being expelled from your body, like a cat with a hairball. And it makes your guys' hair stand up as you watch as, like, for a moment, like, a solid stream of black goo, like ink, just spews from Null's mouth for at least like 4 or 5 seconds. It just like comes out, and after that, Null, your vision like is just like kind of like coming in and out, and you see stars, and it's just like kind of like the blur effect that you were experiencing inside yourself is now sort of slowly starting to reveal the world to you as you know it and feel it. And you look up, and you see this black ichor that just has ran down his chin and parts of his chest with 2 fucking tusks that are much longer than they were before, now jutting out. The blue color to his skin is gone. However, the skin tone is suggestive of illness, to say the least, of dehydration at least. He looks ill, and what does your face look like when they looked at you, Null?
Where were the rods, by the way?
They've all been removed, and I would imagine are in a
Where were they placed?
Oh, so imagine starting from like the middle of your spine, it goes kunk on either side, and then it just goes up in an arc following your shoulder blades, and there's a total of 12.
Okay. So Nal's face, just because he almost was consumed like he was before, just tears down his eyes. I mean, you wouldn't have been there, but just thinking no, like not again. So tears down his eyes and just rage in his eyes, just bloodshot. As he looks up with this like just black tar of like, I guess, body fluid just raining down over his pecs and everything.
Endless, we need to get him away from this now. Just like away from the ichor and the barbs.
Yeah.
I agree, and I bend down and I put Null's arm, one side of his arm over my shoulder.
Yeah, and just you alone isn't really enough to drag him along.
Well, yeah.
But as Zafriel joins in with you, you sort of drag him. Null, right now at this moment, like the thought of like executing a decision to use the muscles in your leg seems like an effort that is not even surmountable right now.
Yeah, as they're like picking me up, all they're hearing is Nal just no, just like soft and repeated over and over, like just like 1,000-mile stare in his eyes.
Zafriel screams for Saffron.
No response.
You drive him over closer to the mobile home, sort of lean him up against it, and what would you like to do?
So we're up against the mobile home.
Yeah.
At this point, like I asked Zafriel, can you hold him for a quick second?
Yes, of course.
Let go, and I burst through the mobile home, and I look straight at Zafriel and say, "Get your ass out here. We need your help."
What do you look like right now, Saffron?
So when you enter, there's no lights on. The furnace died out a while ago. But what you do see is, just as you enter, just like on the left side before the bed, you see a giant red spot of dried blood. And I mean, it's pretty big. And there's actually multiple of them. And you see her sword is in one wall, and then her broken short sword is in the other. And what you do is you see her in the corner of her bed with her knees kind of up and her arms hanging down like this. And she's unconscious as she is drunken, like, she drank more than someone with her body weight should have. And she basically drank herself to sleep, and hopefully not alcohol poisoning, but...
You and Null are married, right?
Fiance.
Betrothed.
Engaged. Yeah, engaged.
At this point, I'm furious, and I walk over to Zafrin and grab her by the shoulders and look at her like, "Your fiance needs you. Come help us."
Saffron, you're sort of able to open your eyes, and like you really only like like sort of like comprehend like half of the sentence he said, and he looks rather emotionally disturbed right now. And you like the moment you open your eyes, the room just begins to like do that not so cool spin.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Zaf, how are you holding me?
I'd assume just by your shoulders.
Okay. I'd like to do something, if that's okay.
Sure.
Whatever, like, I didn't want to interrupt. Alright, so as you're holding him, Null's left arm just, like, throws you off and, like, grabs his shoulder and just starts ripping his skin off, like, down almost to his chest. Just, no! And he's like, I don't want to kill them! No, I would never kill them! No!
You guys, at this point, the two of you from inside the mobile home, like, pause whatever moment you're having. Zafir, you see that he's able to dig his hands and his fingers enough into the first couple layers of his skin to like really fucking shred the fuck out of his shoulder as he just crawls it down his chest. What do you guys want to do?
Saffron, hear him. Come on, pull your shit together.
Saffron just grabs him by the shirt like this, and when she does that, he can see that all of her knuckles are just could maybe even be broken at this point. And she just kind of pulls him down so she can get up, and she's has one hand on the wall, and those knuckles also look just devastated as she's trying to make her way towards the door.
Come up behind her and put my arms around her shoulder. Like, we need you. He needs you. Null needs you. You don't want to lose him.
And she does what she can to make it there, but her eyes, even her eyes, seem distant.
Yeah, Saffron, in fact, as irritated as you are with Endless right now and the situation at large, the moment you get to the threshold of the door, the dizziness is too much. And when he grabs you by the shoulder, there's a small part of you that appreciates that he is there, because otherwise you might not be standing and like you would never admit that. But in this moment, no matter how distant you are, it's evident that the people you've surrounded you with care about your well-being. As he helps you walk down the step or two to the outside, and you see now Zafiril has got excuse me, not I almost said Stein, which isn't good. Has gotten all sort of sitting on what looks to be like a tree that was felled like years ago, and is just now a stump that's kind of mossy on the sides, sitting him down, addressing what now seems to be a fresh wound. You see now blood just kind of pouring slowly down the chest and the shoulder. As you guys approach Zafir, you'll see Saffron is not in good condition either, for many other different reasons. And Saffron is at this point. You see, the skin, it doesn't look blue. It doesn't look like he's been shoved in a walk-in freezer all night. And there's a moment where you meet eye contact. Are you so disassociative you would have this blow past you, or are you enough in the moment to see Null's eyes?
She's in the moment. The reason why she drinks so much is, she's already lost everything, and then she just got it back, and now she's losing something, and there's nothing that she can do. She's not magic. That's the whole reason why she was in there drinking herself basically to death. But that's like the one thing that matters to her more than anything. So, when she sees his eyes, her eyes like widen as she like holds like kind of like her arm kind of grabs onto Inglis even tighter. She's like trying to walk faster towards him as tears are starting to go down her eyes, but she says nothing. She's trying to focus here.
Yeah, the intensity of the reality of the situation is nearly powerful enough to give you a window of sobriety, if you will, in a sense that like the dizziness and the that was going on like immediately dissolves away the second you see Null's well-being is in a state in which that you were not expecting at all. And as you approach Zafriel, you get him bandaged up enough where the bleeding has been taken care of.
She just puts her
You see Zafriel just kind of turns his head weakly and he just backs off.
And how is Null right now? Like, is he sitting? What's he doing?
Yeah, right now he's sitting on a stump. Even sitting, he comes up to nearly your chin. He's pretty tall compared to how. Anyways, but he just sits there and like his general composure is of himself, but he looks very dehydrated, like very very weak, and you see him mostly staring at the ground, but every moment in between he's looking back up, right back at you.
Like during that moment, Null like just grabs his hand and like not like ripping the skin, but just kind of claws like kind of down his forehead a little. He's like, I don't want to lose him. Not like the clan. Not like the clan. And he looks up and looks at Zafriel and says, I'm sorry. Looks over at Inglis, like just shaking, I guess because he's cold, but just shaking because he's just so fearful, and looks at Inglis and says, I'm sorry. And then looks at Saffron, just locks eyes with her and just says, I'm sorry. And then looks down at the ground again, like tears rolling down his face.
And she just kind of...
I put Saffron like towards Null, like you need to go to him.
And, as she gets pushed, she falls on her knees, like, right in front of him, and she just, goes kind of under his arms and just hugs his torso, putting her forehead against his chest or shoulder, either one.
Sure.
And she's also just kind of sobbing while she's also just trying to not pass out.
So, over the next 30-45 minutes, there's a period where the intense emotion starts to curve, where even Null, you find yourself feeling more grounded than you were ever before this point. And whether it's because you are reunited with your love, or maybe it's the allies you surround yourself with, or maybe even Siegfried as he sits next to you and occasionally licks you across the face like a dog does when you're upset. You find a moment where you have enough clarity to become aware of the situation, and it's at this point you see Hendrickson has gotten up from rest and is starting to make his way over towards you guys.
How am I doing, with how drunk I am?
Oh, how drunk you are? Roll a con save real quick, we'll see.
Sure.
You said you drank pretty heavily, right?
Honestly, if someone looked at her medical, they might consider that she might have alcohol poisoning.
Sure.
Like, it could depend.
Well, if you want to do it for fun, you can do it at disadvantage if you want, but I won't make you do it.
I'm okay with that.
Alright, go for it.
So I'll roll that one. Roll that one. Did it show? Let me see.
You got a 3.
3.
So, Savrin, unfortunately, as much of as sobering as that event was,
You got a 8, not a 3.
I had to roll disadvantage.
Disadvantage.
not much
Oh,
different.
I didn't see the other one then.
You find yourself like eventually having to like kind of just like sit near Null or like kind of lay on him as you struggle to keep consciousness. But over the hour, you're able to get some food in your tummy, like I said, some food was being prepared, and you know, well, for all intents and purposes, for the next hour or two, if you make any ability checks, it'll be at disadvantage because you're drunk. But outside of that, like, you know, you're not belligerent at this point. You've sobered up a little bit from the food you've eaten, and
Okay.
just enough to stay a little tipsy, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. You know, she'll be sitting next to Noel, and her hands are still shaking from the damage she dealt to herself while eating and just staying next to him. But she's not saying much at the moment.
Okay.
Zafriel, pretty much as soon as he backed off from Null and Sofrin, he just kind of sat and said nothing for the entire time, and he gets up and walks over to Sofrin and Null.
Okay.
Here, both go. I cast Cure Wounds at first level on both of them.
On Null and who?
Null and Sofrin.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Oh.
Saffron, you see as like your middle knuckle was on your right hand, the knuckle that got fucked the most, like a quarter, maybe 50-cent size piece of skin was just torn off your knuckle, and it's, you know, if you were in a more lighter mood, it would be very interesting to watch the skin sort of like kind of comes back up Wolverine style.
Awesome.
No, also, the pain that did you roll already, Zafriel?
Yeah, 7 and an 8.
Technically, you guys had a full like a rest already, so you're already at full hit points. But no, the pain that is sort of like kind of like pulsing in your back with each beat of your heart is lessened more so, and is slightly more tolerable.
No, wouldn't care. He's just looking at his hands.
Sure.
So I'm at full health?
Yeah. We'll say that you got a full rest, unless if you want to play into it and say that you did, and you'll have like a level of exhaustion or something. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I'll just go with the full rest.
Okay, that's fine. No biggie.
Saffron will just thank Zafriel for everything, as she stayed very close to Null. She's still, still tipsy, and she's still very just trying. She thought she was gonna lose the last piece of her world that was left. And right now she's just trying to recover mentally as well from it, and just being near him. But she's not saying much either.
Okay, I'll be right back. I just need to use the little boys.
Oh, dirty.
This is intense.
There's been some really good roleplay, but I feel really bad for Pocket, because his little green ass, goblin ass is like, pick me up!
It was a very cliffhanger ending to the last session.
Oh, dude, this is wonderful. And I just want to give it up to all of you guys. The roleplay has been nice. It's been tight.
I've been trying.
And I'm not
even kidding when I was saying, like, I was sobbing during the whole procedure with Hendrickson, because I'm like, he's my favorite.
So, what was the name of your character then, Trek?
Well, his name is Gleoclosia Does, but everyone calls him Pocket.
Pocket.
Nice.
Because he
Yeah.
fits in no pocket.
And you threw all 7 levels into fighter?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so dope.
Yeah, it's the most interesting gunslinger, though. I took a very unique approach on it.
Dude, that's the best way to play it.
Yeah. And it is super intense. I'm like just blown away. My character is not as like deep and gloomy. I'm just like, oh crap. He's
Neither is
like,
mine, but given the circumstances,
Oh, Colton.
like I was going like happy as shit now.
What's up, Claire?
Will you check your messages?
Oh, sorry. I meant to give you a thumbs up.
Oh, cool. Gotcha.
I hope
We're
I
on the
didn't
same page.
blow your ears off when I
No,
yelled
dude,
earlier.
dude. In fact, I'm going to give you like inspiration for
I
that.
already have it.
What, you already have it.
Yeah, you already gave me
All right,
gave me that.
Well, I'm gonna say it's stats. We'll say you can only have up to 3,
Okay.
Okay.
and y'all know what that is, right? You just get at any point, even if it's after you've already rolled your d20, you can re-roll it if you want to.
Cool.
So, as the morning goes on, another hour or 2 rolls by, and it's at this point the rain that I had talked about before starts to come in lightly. The clouds don't seem as intense today,
Ready for bed,
which is
right?
nice.
If you and Lou go watch a movie,
But if you
since they're in your room before you go to bed, that's fine.
Mute your mic there, Bob.
sorry,
Sorry.
that's okay. No, but as the sort of light rain begins to fall, the temperature does drop slightly, and for the first time this season, for those who are perceptive enough in the moment, every once in a while see like a snowflake try to form, but it's not quite cold enough yet. You know what I mean? But it's coming, and it's evident by the chilled rain that you're going through right now. You get to a point where let's see here. Hendrickson pipes up. Are you guys still chilling by the stump after a couple hours, or do you think you would have gone inside?
I helped him.
Could I say that I tested create or destroy water to allow for some washing to happen in that time period?
Oh,
For sure.
yeah, my mobile house actually has a barrel bath. I was actually gonna make a bath said that I made a bath for Noel and helped him into it and helped just clean him up.
No, I wouldn't have gotten in the bath.
Okay.
Yeah, Null seems like it. Please, correct me if I'm wrong. Like not necessarily distant, but like so absorbed in himself in the moment. Does that make
Of
sense?
course. Yeah, of course.
He's being distant as well.
Distant? Okay,
If,
that's fine.
if
too.
that's the case, if she couldn't get him to leave the tree stump, even in her weakened state, she takes the canvas down and she actually sets up the canvas around him and builds a small fire in front of him, just to help him keep warm. And she brings a fur
Yeah.
blanket for him.
Just let him
That's what I was
stay on
gonna
his
say.
own,
I did
basically.
during that.
Okay. All right. And you do so.
You said that Hendrickson piped up?
Yeah. Hendrickson comes over to you, and like you bandaged him up after his procedure, but his general constitution seems to be like a little more with it. He's still kind of like a little wobbly with his head, but things are looking good. And he comes to you and he sort of gives a quick and not so much of a display of a bow, and he says, "Sire, things are looking a little worse for wears, and I was wondering." He looks over at the mobile home. We should get that fixed as soon as possible. We need to get to a town. We need to get somewhere. Look at us.
Yeah, we can't survive another horde.
We barely survived. And he looks over at Null and looks back at you.
I don't want you doing the work. You're going to have to tell me how. Because
Nall gets up. Oh, continue. Sorry.
No.
because you really shouldn't be lifting much. But I agree with you. We can't. We have to get out of here.
Null, you can. I wouldn't say they're. Just make a perception check. We'll see how well you heard that conversation.
Yeah, I was gonna ask first if they were in earshot.
Well, I guess it's up to you, Zafra. Where were you guys standing?
I would say, I mean, I haven't really left the main camp, and I also wasn't being discreet, but
Okay, yeah,
I
you hear that. You're fine. You don't have to roll. That's fine. You heard that.
So Nall gets up and just walks over to the wagon
Hendrickson's like, oh, no. Do you stop to look at him, or do you just kind of brush right
No,
over
he
him?
grabs the bottom of the wagon, not even saying anything.
And I won't even make you roll for it. You just fucking like circus strong man, just like hold.
And just lifts it up.
Hendrickson just like sits there, looks at you. Zafriel looks back at Null.
Well, I guess we have to help him now. He's not going to be able to fix that while he's holding it.
He runs a couple of steps forward and loses balance and kind of trips into himself, catches himself, and runs on and like tries to, do what he can.
So,
Oh, go ahead. What?
so Zafrin grabs her kit from the side of the wagon and goes in there and just starts working on it.
So because of Null's help and him holding the wagon in like a fucking what's it called that they use in
A jack.
a jack, he just sits there festered by the task of holding the mobile home up, and
Yeah, just legs spread, and he's just like this, holding it, like kind of leaning back to carry the weight, just like sitting there.
because of that, he'll assist you, giving you advantage, but you have disadvantage because you're drunk, so it's just going to be a straight roll.
Bet. Let's see here. Okay. It's leather working. See. I got a 13. Yeah, my rolls are sucking today.
To be honest, the way the initial accident happened, the way in which the axle broke, it didn't necessarily. It wasn't in a totally compromising way. You do see just several inches away from where metal work was done from Null. If any of that was compromised, you guys would be really shit out of luck. Fortunately, you know a trick to be able to kind of jerry rig it for a good at least another day's worth of travel, where you might be able to give yourself enough time to get to town and fix it for real.
Okay. Should start getting ready to move the convoy since everything's still hooked up to her.
Does
Mobile
anyone
home.
want to do anything specifically before you all leave back on the road? And with that,
Yeah, I just packed up my surgical tools and everything, and
okay. As you guys,
I just
okay.
Where are my weapons and all equipment and all that?
They've been placed in the mobile home
Yep.
Okay.
where you would normally put them if you were sleeping in there.
Okay.
In the next 45 minutes, everyone's able to pack up camp enough to be able to get back on the road. Being on the road for even 30 minutes is just a little nerve-wracking, but because it's that amount of time where alright, my patchwork job should be good, but oh boy, let's see. And after about a half hour, you're like, oh, okay, I think things are alright. Are you helming the mobile home?
She is, but she's she's got a cold gear, she's got a cold gear on, but it's not really the best dressed, and
Sure.
she also has her cantina, and she just she's very quiet, and she just takes sips of it at a time as she's driving it.
Okay. So, over the next... Oh boy. I'll let you guys make a decision. You can continue to travel in a northwest sort of direction up the road, or you can turn around and spend half the day going back to Terranford. What would you like to do? Which direction?
What do you guys think?
we have to go back to town. Wait, or Terranford was the... We can't go there.
Hendrickson lives back to you all. Unfortunately, I have to agree with Sir Zafriel. That town is not in a state to help us.
Oh, I wasn't. Oh, I was asking out of character, but that works.
Oh,
that works.
Sorry,
It all works. It all works, boo. It all works. Saffron would just, still very, very cold shoulder a bit, just go, well, then we need to move forward and find a town quickly.
Zafriel, how familiar would you say... Oh, I meant that. Sorry, Tucker. How familiar would you say Zafriel is with the west coast of the Empire?
Between Leavenwood and Terranford, Zafriel is quite familiar, and he had gone. He came from Urim to Leavenwood, then to Leavenwood to Terranford. But aside from that, New Vinmore is all he's familiar with.
Okay. So as you guys travel for the next 12 miles or so, it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and the rain that had set out earlier this morning is still persistent, but has been persistent on like a 2, nothing too crazy. It's just, after like an hour of sitting in it, you're wet. Like, even if you try to cover yourself, there's like part like your ass is wet. You know what I mean?
Well, I think with how my wagon's thing is built,
I always forget, dude. I have such a hard time removing what I've already established what your wagon looks like in my head with how it actually looks like in everyone else's
I can
head.
re-find the picture and send it to you.
Yeah, maybe you should. Just so like
I'll help you, yeah, because it's easily built.
Anyways, regardless, you spend some time traveling, and you see a sign. Hold on, I have to pull up the world map real quick.
Your mama's a world map.
Yeah, that's right, dude. All over the place.
Stupid.
So, you guys see a sign about half a day's worth of travel west on this main road. And it says West Harbor, 120 miles. And it has a awkward arrow pointed in the general direction of like the coastline, and you see that the road starts to fork once more at this particular point, and it says Urim. If that's 120, that would be 160 miles. And you continue forward, and over the next several hours have a pretty mild journey. You are able to eventually find what appears to be a small village that isn't necessarily marked on the map. It's pretty small. From the road, you can barely see it from the road even, and it's about, I don't know, a half of a mile or so out, and there's just a handful of buildings that seem serviceable, at least to stop for the night. If you wish to go into the town, you can, or you can camp off the road like you have been. What would you like to do?
She'll take the mobile home into town, find somewhere to station it. She's gonna sleep in it, but station it.
Yeah, and as you get closer, the town only has one road and approximately 10 buildings, and technically 2 of them are combined, so it's like really 9 buildings. But there's a simple courtyard with a masonry type of fountain in the center of it. It's been damaged and broke over time, and at this point isn't even being used as a fountain anymore, because it wouldn't be able to hold the water properly. There are like 3 people sitting out on their stoops, like with big sun hats on. Some have like a long piece of wheatgrass in their mouth, and others you see spitting into some sort of cup or cauldron below them. Pretty quiet. I don't really hear much conversation. Everyone, the 3 people I mentioned that you can see, all human, mind you, just kind of eye you down a little bit. There seems to be a tavern in this little get up of a place. It looks like it could probably hold a family of 8, though, as you guys find an appropriate spot next to the tavern. Also, coincidentally, where horses or ox or beasts of burden can be stowed. Get yourselves nice and situated. And at this point, the rain has let up, and a break in the clouds is starting to form. And for the first time in literally 3 days, you actually see the sun and feel its rays on your skin. And Njal, it takes you whenever you decide to step out of the mobile home, and if you don't,
I was never in the mobile home.
Oh, you were traveling next
I was
to it?
on the rooftop the entire time.
Oh, okay, that's fine. So being on the rooftop, even more so, feeling the sun on your skin instills a feeling of appreciating life that you never thought you would understand until this moment. So, as you all sort of unload yourselves, you see Hendrickson making toward the tavern door, and at this point, there's a wooden sign above it that is kind of cocked because of a failure to hang it properly. You just see the rusted, and then the second half of the name has either been scratched off or worn down from over time. So the only word that is available to read on the sign itself is the rusted. As Hendrickson walks in, does anyone follow suit?
I am right behind Hendrickson, just kind of like you can tell, I'm not really okay mentally right now.
Sure.
I'll go in with him.
Okay.
Saffron is just trying to take care of Njal. She just kind of goes up to him and she puts her hand on his shoulder and one on his chest, and she goes, "My love, do you want to stay at the mobile home or do you want to stay at the tavern?"
Go on ahead, I'll stay here.
She kind of takes him in. She just nods and she, rubs his chest a little bit. She kind of heads into the inn quietly.
You sort of heave yourself off the top of the mobile home and walk inside. Let's see here. As you walk in, there is a bar that can seat exactly 4 people, except there are only 3 bar stools. I got you now. There are 3 bar stools only. The 4th one is present, but is broken in half, and the cushion is you wouldn't want to sit on it. You see there are 2 individuals sitting at a table on the side of the establishment. The exact square footage of this room is I'd say maybe 600 square feet. It's pretty snug, like an intimate coffee shop, if you will. And you see a staircase in the back of the place that is rather steep, much like you'd find on a naval ship, that goes up to an upper floor. And the 2 individuals that are sitting at the table, one appears to be a gentleman with a darker skin complexion and a salt and pepper beard that's rather short, talking with a dwarven individual that is seemingly as old, bearing similar grayish colors in his red beard that kind of comes down to a point, balding at the head. They both kind of look at you as if you interrupted something important they were doing, and quickly look back at each other as the tavern keep sort of pops up from behind the bar that you didn't notice before. A woman. She has a 5 brow, a 5 head rather, a big ass forehead, enough for any advertisement in the Empire, and not quite a unibrow, but 7 eyebrow hairs away from having a unibrow. With the sweetest smile, looks at you. What can I do for you today, everybody? Huh?
Yeah, can I get 6 shots of your strongest drink? I don't care if it's kerosene and 2 meads. And you guys want anything?
Um,
Hendrickson,
so,
would you like an ale? I think I'll only take that.
oh,
When
good.
you ask for an ale, Hendrickson then agrees to an ale. Otherwise, you get the impression he might have not asked for one.
Yeah. Uh,
She,
2 meads as well.
she looks over at you, Saffron, and for you, dog.
Um, she just looks very kind of still distant, and she goes, "Do you have any rooms available?"
Oh, of course. In fact, we only have. Well, all of them are available. We don't get a lot of customers. Hey, you guys need to cheer up. I know it's been raining, but it hasn't been that bad. Hey, you know what? I can throw in some free dessert tonight, huh? I just made a pie earlier today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll take the whole thing.
Take the whole thing. She go.
She just lights
Okay.
up like a Christmas tree. Okay, here you are. She just she throws you 4 keys, and that's only gonna be 2 gold.
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead and just put everything on my tab, and I'll take care of it later.
Oh, what a kind gentleman. And she kind of raises her slight unibrow at you, turns around, and goes up the stairs, actually, that I described earlier, to assumedly to fetch the drinks.
She'll quietly say thank you to English as she waits for her to come back and just stands there quietly.
Sure. And as you all sort of wait in this moment, Null, as you sit on top of the roof, that grounding feeling of the sun's rays bouncing off your skin and giving you the energy you need to stay present in the moment quickly starts to fade away as a large cloud kind of boils over and sort of darkening the space. And with that, the breeze that was already present is sort of intensified now, not having that direct heat from the sun. Right now, you kind of look around. The town looks as dreary as you feel inside. The people I described on the porch are maybe 50 feet away from you across the way, and every other time you look up in their general direction, they seem to be looking at you, and they just kind of like look like they just kind of whisper some shit and they just kind of spit to the side. What do you want to do? All your companions are inside the rusted.
No, I guess we'll hop down, and like open the door to the mobile home.
Okay.
It's still the way she left it too. Blood spot, swords in the sword and broken short sword in the wall too.
It's mildly destroyed inside. It looks like someone had a fit.
So Na will grab the broken short sword off the wall and just like rip it out of the wood.
You
And he'll
so
just
easily.
he'll like just close the door behind him, and then just go and sit in front of the wagon and just kind of slide down against the wheel and sit down on the ground. Just short sword, just slapped on the ground, just staring at it.
And as you sit there and sort of slink down, the thud of your body hitting the bottom, meeting the ground of the mobile home, snaps, and you suddenly look around and medical lights are above you, and everything's lit up like LEDs around you. You're sitting on a very cold iron table, and as your fingers like grip the edge, you look up and you see a feminine figure in a sort of lab coat. And you sit back down and you look around you. And you look at the damage done to the wall. Looks like someone had punched it multiple times. You can see because of the blood that is now starting to dry now on the wood. What would you like to do?
Is it on the wagon? I see that.
Yeah, it's on the wall that you decided to sit next to.
Okay. Nah, we'll just start breathing faster and like just kind of sweating like and he just starts like screaming just like over and over.
Okay. Let's see here. Is anyone proficient in perception on this team?
I
the
am
more,
Captain.
You are?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
Can you make a perception check for me?
Sure. Oh wait, let me just do it on.
It's fine. You can do whatever.
Okay.
I trust you.
Yeah, just trust.
15.
Yeah, not quite. As you sort of scream into space, you, just like in battle many times before, in a lot of other situations, you use the rage that you know it exists in your heart, and you try to manipulate that to get yourself out of the situation. But no matter what you do, you find yourself stuck like you're in a tar pit. And you move and your arm comes down, and as you're sitting there, another flash comes to you. Almost like remembering a bad dream. It's incoherent. And Aden, you see her hands gripping the edge of an iron, smooth table, cold to the touch. You realize now the cold sensation you're feeling on your entire rear, and you look up once more and you see the person wearing the lab coat is now maybe within just striking distance. And you hear, for whatever amount of strength you are able to come up with, it's not enough to look up, and you just hear the sound of a very sweet, womanly voice. "Oh dear, please. Trust me, everything is going to be okay." And you feel a soft, tiny hand caress your chin when you feel two stingers almost pierce into your spine, which makes you jolt up and scream out in pain. And you blink once more, and you realize you're hyperventilating, and you realize you're feeling like you're going to lose consciousness as you are sitting in the mobile home. What would you like to do?
While sitting outside of it, so Nal is just screaming and now just swinging the sword, like trying to attack the woman.
Sure. And you just lash out with.
You're muted, by the way.
Sorry. As you lash out with your sword wildly, with reckless abandon, you try with all your might to hit this creature in your mind, but no matter the amount of ferocity you put into it, it doesn't make it go away. And there's a moment where the voice comes back to you on a loop. "Oh, it's going to be okay. Everything is fine." And the pain of that moment just kind of replays in your mind until you blink and you're able to look at the small town around you, and you now see that the two. You're in the mobile home, right? That's why.
No, he's outside.
No,
Outside.
I went outside and I'm sitting down against the wheel. I guess now, like I was swinging
Okay.
while sitting, but now I guess I'm just like
Okay,
in the
alright.
middle of the street now.
Sure. If you are outside when you do that, then Pocket, you do hear in one of the rooms you're staying in across the street, not in the Rusted. It's an Airbnb, if you will. You go to your window and you see this it's hard. You think it's an orc. This huge, muscly mass, swinging a broken, what seems to be short sword, violently in the street, and no one really seems to be reacting, other than you do see three individuals across the way on their porch, just kind of watching with a judgmental look, I guess.
Wow. the people that are in these worlds these days. What a weirdo. And then I like kind of close the shutters, and then I have a cup of tea, and then I actually open the shutters, and I like sit on like where the railing would be, and I kind of just like curious, and like as I'm picking kind of like my belly button hair, trying to push it back in because it's like coming out, and I'm just kind of like trying to shove it back in because I think I'm self-conscious of my belly button hair. Just watching them.
Okay. I'm going to say, let's see here. Can everyone make perception checks for me, except for Potter?
Sure.
I'm gonna roll.
Dude.
I'm gonna roll real dice because with me
13.
running
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
Discord on my laptop, it's just not gonna do it.
It's totally fine.
D&D Beyond is not my friend right now. All of my rolls have been shit.
Dude,
I don't
Say
think
perception,
I rolled
right?
above 10.
I got 17.
All right, Endless.
Right?
Perception, yeah.
Yeah. So 7 plus 2, 9.
Okay, Saffron.
A 4. D&D Beyond hates me today.
That's fine. Zafril, you hear a pretty low aggressive tone, just barely from inside of the establishment that you're in, as the tavern team comes out with all the drinks that you guys have ordered. That's when you hear this. Everyone else seems to be too distracted in the moment. Acknowledge.
Hendrickson, come with me.
He looks at you, and do you make your way for the door? He waits just like 2 moments, looks at Saffron, looks at Endless, and gets up and goes towards the door as well.
So with Hendrickson in tow, I step out the door and see the event unfold.
Yeah, you see, what does he see? No.
You see Null just with a broken short sword at his neck, and he's stabbing it into his neck. And there's this blood gushing out of his neck as Null is basically attempting suicide right in front of your eyes.
He just stands there like, sir. He realized.
I sprint forward and I am going to just try to full-on kick his hand. If you'd like me to roll for an attack.
Yeah, go ahead. Just roll for an unarmed attack, I suppose. Yeah.
That misses.
Yeah.
So, Null, you see as a concerned Zafril and Hendrickson come out. Immediately, as you haven't even enough time to make the conscious decision to look over, Zafril is already on you, trying to nudge you out of the space, but he's not able to necessarily kick the blade out of your hand, and you're now in this moment where the blade itself is maybe a quarter of an inch deeper just by the accident of the situation. And just make a con save for me real quick. Just
sure,
see if you can kind of, stay with it.
Can I make an attack roll as well at disadvantage?
To do what?
Can I make an attack roll as well?
But
Just
what?
a
Do you want to try and attack him?
Yeah, so I want to shoot one of my intestine cookies into his mouth.
What?
What? Poo? You mean poo?
No.
Hold that thought, Trent. What was your roll?
14 plus 7, math, I don't know, 19 or something like that.
You feel that faint feeling start to collect at your forehead and start to lower down, but your brute strength that you have is just enough to kind of keep whatever consciousness you have left. What would you like to do?
So Null, I would say, how far do you think the sword's in his neck again?
Any further, man, it's gonna be fucking dice rolls.
So Null, as he dug it in a little deeper with Zafrael, like when he dug it in a little deeper right after that event, has a flashback kind of happen.
Okay.
So Nal all of a sudden is back in his clan, and he's sitting there as a young child, uh, and his father is coming through the door with a little girl holding his hand, and he jumps off his father's throne and goes over there. He's like, "Dad, who is that?" And his father's like, "Well, son, this is Sophron. Uh, we are adopting her, actually. She's gonna be your younger sister. I want you to treat her nice and watch over her. You're her big brother now, okay?" And in that moment, Nal throws the short sword, screaming bloody murder, just and just takes it away from his throat and throws it into the ground.
And as you do so, like a gloop of like blood just kind of plops out, and the blade kind of like clanks very quickly to the ground.
Zafriel immediately tears off a piece of his clothing and just holds it to his neck as tightly as possible.
You're able to stop bleeding momentarily.
What is going on? What can I do to help you? What honor is there in ending your life?
You should have killed me.
You deserve it!
Then do it now. Take my life.
I vowed to your betrothed that I wouldn't. You made a couple of vows yourself.
Yeah, like what?
Hendrickson at this point comes up. No. If you are struggling, please let us help. I'll be right back. And he runs and turns back towards the rusted, and bursts into the door. Saffron and Englis, as you guys are like deep into your drinks, I would imagine that were ordered, or no?
We didn't get to that part, so right now she's still
Sure.
waiting.
Sure. You see Hendrickson just a couple minutes later, not very long, bust into the door. Saffron, Englis, come on, something's wrong with Null, and he just runs back out.
Her eyes widen and she's gone. She is full on busting her ass to Null.
And no sooner than that, you see Zafro holding what looks to be a torn off piece of his clothing up towards the neck of Null.
She just.
At this point, would we have already gotten our drinks, do you think?
Yeah.
Like, as I go running, like, after Zaffron, but, like, I scooped up all of my drinks, and I'm just, like, slamming them as I'm running out the door.
Okay.
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 So Saffron, she bursts through the tavern door and she slides in the mud. And when she sees that, her eyes just widen as rage like fills her heart, and she puts her hand on her only remaining sword as she's looking at everywhere for an attacker.
And you look around, and you don't see anybody riding off in the distance, and the people sitting out on our porch seem undisturbed, and you start make an insight check.
I bet you it's gonna be bad, dude. Okay, this is getting ridiculous. This is getting ridiculous. Oh, I have failed every fucking check.
What you got? What you got?
I got a fucking 9.
9. It's clear to see, even with your roll. Like, after you start immediately looking for an attacker, you start to realize everything looks about the same as though you left it, and you start to look at Zafril as he gives you an eye. And then you look at Null, and you haven't come to any conclusions, but something's not lining up with the body language of the situation.
She puts her sword. She just rushes over to him and puts her hand next to Zafril's and on his neck as she, she just puts his arm over her shoulder and he's just helping to add pressure. And she goes, "What's happened?"
Null made an attempt on his life. I wasn't able to stop it, and he threw the knife on the ground.
She just looks speechless. Like her heart just dropped.
And as you stand there, at this point, Pocket, you've, out of curiosity, opened the window to. You can kind of pick up on some conversation from this far away, but there's definitely something happening. Not just like your typical something happening in a small town type of thing.
He definitely drops the cup when he sees like the half broken short sword into the throat. It's like the cup is gone and like jaws just open. And I don't know what Pocket would do.
Surprise!
I just love the
Surprise!
The cup is gone. Shit is ripped.
Yeah,
What is
like,
Inglis doing? He's been silent.
Yeah, Endless. As you sit there, you kind of stand 5 feet off to the side as to not crowd the space. What's your general composure right now?
At this point, I imagine I'm starting to feel like the alcohol start to creep up.
Yeah,
And
like another 30 minutes and you might be feeling definitely different. That's for sure. It's coming on.
I look at Null and I take a couple steps closer and go, and I tell him, "You think we went through all of that with you just for you to end your life? What happened to the beast that I met?"
The beast you met has been changed. Who's to say I wouldn't attack you all again? I don't want to do that. I want to be in control of my body. If I'm to die, I'd rather die on my own hands than to fall on somebody else's blade as they desire.
So you'd rather just give up fighting and walk away? What was all of this for?
I thought I knew once.
Well, your clan sure as shit isn't going to be restoring itself.
Saffron's just. Oh, go ahead. Say what you're gonna say.
Well, that was that. He's like,
Maybe I have no grounds in saying that. But I don't respect those who don't respect life.
Hendrickson. Oh, sorry, Saffron. Please, I want you to jump in.
Oh, you're good. She's just silent. Like she just doesn't know what to say or do. But she's keeping her hand on his neck and she has his arm on her shoulder and she's just, in a sense, hugging him while like quietly like sobbing, basically.
Hendrickson, after a beat has passed, looks at you, Null. Not with a gaze that everyone else seems to be supporting. Almost in a sympathetic sort of gaze. I know things can be hard sometimes, but you would be surprised, Null, what things can be overcome. Please let us help.
I will say that now I think it was foolish to attempt my life, but if you nearly killed your wife, or soon-to-be wife, and your only friends that are left alive in this world, and you weren't sure if a monster was going to take you over again, what would you do? Would you let the monster control you and do what it wants? Or would you take your life and say fuck those who want it to happen?
I can tell you from experience, you take the path of righteousness.
Hendrickson gives a mighty bow to the head to that.
I say fuck righteousness. I want revenge.
Well, you're not gonna do that if you were dead.
I know that now.
Well, then get up on your feet then. We have drinks in there.
Come, drink me under the table, you coward.
If anybody deserves a drink, it's
Poke him in
you.
the chest.
Fuck yeah, the chat. I love it.
Njal gives like a sure. He'll like get up. I guess he'll hold like the rag to his neck as he walks with them back into the tavern.
Oh, go ahead. Please, go.
And I just roll a perception check on the general vibe of the 4 people that are watching.
Insight check.
He's like,
Vibe check.
bad vibe.
Roll a vibe check real quick.
Oh, darn it.
9.
I only got a 9.
9.
Dude,
I
D&D
mean,
Beyond sucks today.
It doesn't take an emotional genius to recognize that, like, whatever had just transpired across the street from you, although you may have not been able to hear, like, sometimes you would hear a word here or there when someone got passionate as they were speaking, but, you know, it seems pretty miserable to say the least. Like, there's some misery happening over there.
I think Pocket would put his armor on and try to sneak a little closer. If that's just to try, he's kind of curious with what's happening.
It's actually at this point when you like, all right, I'm gonna do something, is when they start going inside of the tavern.
Saffron, though, quietly kind of didn't follow.
Okay, all right. So you see a Saffron, if you will, please give Trek a description of your character, what he sees from across the street on the second floor of the house that he's in.
Oh, yeah, absolutely bet. I'll actually have a picture. I can actually just show you. Actually, I think it's in general chat. Let me see.
She talking?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
She is.
Sorry, there's a picture. Give me 1 second. Because I actually drew a picture of her that I posted. Oh wait, I should actually have it on this computer. I'm just being retarded. It's all good. Let me see here. Okay. I need to redraw this because I'm a lot better now.
But yeah, even a description along with the picture will help.
There she is.
Oh, that is so dank.
Thanks. But
That's
she's
my boo right there.
but she's not wearing the face paint. You know, and she's not really wearing her armor. It's more just soft, almost like Viking clothing. And she's just kind of standing there, looking at the blood on her hand, and she's just standing there.
Pocket is gonna put his armor on and just jump off his balcony where he was watching, kind of all suited up, and you see like a 3'10" maybe humanoid figure with a mask. Sorry, I was playing soccer today and I hurt my ankle, so I have to have an ice pack. So that's, my wife just gave it to me. Anyways,
Hi, Summer. So,
it's September, but close
oh,
enough.
that's what I meant. I'm so sorry.
Sorry. So you see, yeah, a humanoid figure, and you can't see what race they are. All you see is a mask, and it kind of looks like a Chinese dragon mask, but there's no color. So it's just like kind of like a wood carving,
Okay.
with like a leather cap on his head that has like a tube just kind of like coming out of the top of it, just like a chimney.
She sees you, and she just sees this short fucking armored creature just land in front of her, and her reaction is she grabs, she quickly grabs the dagger out of her boot, out of her boot side, and she gets in a defensive stance, and she just looks at you with with just the eyes of someone who wants to just fucking slaughter something right now.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, yeah, you do. Yeah. So Pakta, as you stand there, she like quicker than you expected. May it be whatever background she came from, but she's at an attention more so than you were able to read the moment in that series of events, and suddenly you see a very on guard human woman right in front of you. What would you like to do?
Hey! I'm not a nice person, I promise. All I wanted was to do a little bit of, kill a guy for trying to be nice once in his life. And he's just gonna go in his bag of holding and pull out 15 gold pieces and just toss it.
Wait. Before, so she sees him reach in a bag, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's gonna throw the moment she sees him reaching into a bag, she throws the dagger at him.
Alright, make an attack.
Would we notice any of this?
She said that she's stuck back, so I assume we're in the tavern.
Yeah, she waited.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, like, as Null, I'm just like, would I notice my wife isn't there? Or
I mean,
fiance?
yeah, you would have noticed that she's not in there, but this is pretty much happening as you all entered the tavern.
Yeah.
I got a 25.
Oh yeah, that hits. Yeah, it seems
Damn.
right into like the side of your arm, nowhere nearly in a lethal spot, but that's gonna fucking hurt in the morning.
10 damage.
Ooh.
Hey! What's that for? And he, like, kind of pulls it out, and he's, like, backing away. Like, I don't know. How far away am I from her?
Like, let's say 15 feet. Like, you're 15 feet away, and she just fucking threw a fucking dagger at you.
I want to back up,
Okay.
but because, like, as she threw it, I threw my gold, and I'm gonna kind of, like, get low and, like, just pick up my gold one by one. It's like, okay, if you want to play like that, then I'm gonna take back my niceness. Last time I'm nice in this world. Gosh.
She I already love his character. She
So
fantastic. She kind of gets in her hands in an offensive stance. She goes, I am very much on guard. And a small creature just appears in armor coming towards me and reaches into a bag. What do you think I should do? Can I roll an insight on my history of killing goblins and orcs based on his voice to see if I can tell he's a goblin?
Oh no, he looks like a goblin, but he's tall for a goblin. But he's...
I'm covered top to, like, I'm in full armor, so, like, you can't see that I'm green or
yeah.
not green.
I would say you can make a history check or an insight check, and I'll let you do it at advantage because goblins.
Cool. Wow, I get one good roll. I get one fucking good roll tonight so far. Sight is such bullshit today.
What skill did you use?
I got a 9.
In what?
And a 7.
No, but I mean like history or insight.
Oh, insight.
You know, as far as broad strokes go, definitely has like a goblin-y sounding voice, but like it's hard to like really confirm that with his entire visage being concealed essentially.
Well,
Okay.
And I don't have a goblin accent. Like, I'm
you don't?
very proficient in common.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Oh.
So,
Okay,
like-
by your voice, okay.
I just have a very scraggly voice, like,
Fair enough.
very dry.
Okay, my bad.
But so she makes that statement of, armored person appears before her and reaches into a bag.
Well, I prefaced it with, hey, I'm not a nice guy, but I'm gonna do a nice thing for you. Like, what else do you want from me?
Oh my lord.
It's just like, maybe not walking up on in armor.
Oh, you want me to be naked now? I get it.
It's about this time, Null. You realize like Saffron didn't come in behind you, and the amount of time is like uncomfortable. So
Yeah, I would turn around and head back out.
yeah, it's at this point, Pocket. You look over as the door opens to the tavern, which is probably like 20 feet. Oh, you guys are pretty much in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
And you look, and the door opens, and the hulking figure is actually like not necessarily. He's not tall enough to not fit through the door. He has to kind of go a little shimmy because like his full like build won't fit through the threshold of the door itself. So
A
he
little
just
like sidestep
Yeah.
and a little crouch
yeah,
under.
pretty much.
I guess since I'm walking through the door and I don't wear much of crap anyways, so you see like a half orc, 6 foot. You see a 6 foot 10 inch half orc with orange reddish eyes. Just walk through with like a brown beard, kind of like I have, like brown hair that's completely shaven on the sides and then like long and braided down the back, kind of like long hair, kind of like Zaf's is, but like shaved completely on the sides and then braided down.
Oh,
I'll post
cool.
it. I'll post it
Yeah,
too.
there's a picture. She'll post it, and he's got like a raven skull tattoo of like Odin's raven tattooed on the side, and then like that's about it. The war paint's gone by now, but seeing the goblin and like and all this, like Nal would just rush over and be like, "What's going on?"
Hey, don't hurt me. I just saw. There's a lot going on right now. Okay? I was trying to be nice. She stabbed me. You almost killed yourself. And, well, yeah, I'm sorry. I can leave you guys alone.
She
Um,
good.
I'd like to do a roll to see if I can tell if he's a goblin or not, since I have a history with orcs and goblins.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't necessarily have any. You wouldn't have any inclination to think this was a goblin, because of there's no parts of his body that, and now that I understand that you're just using a voice and it's not necessarily a goblin accent.
Okay, gotcha.
Like,
Yeah.
There's nothing
Okay.
about his character that reveals that he's a goblin.
Oh, okay. Never
Yeah.
mind.
She just she puts her hands down. She goes, I even though I explained the situation to you perfectly, I apologize for attacking you.
Well, you threw a sword at me. That's just not cool. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna keep the sword because I don't think you should have swords because you're too good at throwing them, and it really hurts. Don't you know that I'm like a real person? Like I have feelings, and you know, if you flick me, I will feel it. You throw a sword at me, I feel it, and it hurts.
You just see like a fucking vein like pop like out on the side of her fucking temple, and she just fucking eyes you with her eyes like wide and her fists like just like, and she just goes into the mobile home.
At this point, the door opens and you now see Zafir. Will you please explain what Hendrickson looks like?
Seriously, Trek, man. He was the funniest guy.
It's pretty fucking awesome.
So as Hendrickson steps out of the tavern, will you give him a description?
Okay, so Hendrickson, he is wearing let's 1 second, sorry. He's actually wearing plate. It looks very scrawny and maybe about 6 feet. Looks to be human. Got super freckly face, got some acne going on. And he wields a very large sword that is just strapped to his back.
He also has a bandage right now over the left
yes.
side of his eye.
Large bandage covering the eye.
He kind of walks out. Is everything okay? And he sort of walks into the space, looks over at Saffron, looks at you, Nal, looks over at the mysterious man wearing leather armor you described?
So it's leather armor, and then I have a leather cap on,
Yeah.
and then a wooden mask that's like a dragon. So
Okay.
it's like Chinese dragon-esque, but just no paint.
He just looks at you. He like just goes for he doesn't go to draw his blade, but he puts his hand on his sword. Is everything
Nal would like throw up his hand like, it's good. and just say, I think it was just some misunderstanding. He just came down here to ask what was going on, and I need to go talk with Saffron though, and I follow her behind her to the mobile home.
Okay.
Hey, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get involved in any gang stuff. I don't want to get a bad footing in this area. You know, we got the one-eyed man and axe sword throwing lady. Like, I'll just leave, okay? Like,
Sir, please, if anything, allow my master to heal you. Please. And he rushes back into the rusted. Sire! Sire?
Yes,
He rushes
I'm coming.
over to the table, and there's only 2 tables in here, and they're both relatively small. As he jumps over, I think you need to come help, and he just turns around and goes out. Angus, if your curiosity is piqued at this point, you may follow after or continue to stay in there.
No, my curiosity definitely has peaked, and I am coming out.
So,
Endless.
as Zafriel and Endless leave, will you both respectively give a description to Trek?
You go first, dog.
So, what you see come out is a half elf. I've got about like, I'm not like super tall, but like at least like 6 foot, maybe 6'1". Long, blonde hair, but it's really like greasy, kind of like Lucius Malfoy from Harry Potter. I'm wearing a green cloak, hood is down. And as I come out and I see you, I drunk and I'm stumbling. I'm gonna walk up and just kind of like grab you by the shoulders and pick you up and go, "Oh, you're cute."
Okay, I love it.
I don't know if I would allow that.
Okay, so do you want to try and like...
I would just
That's
like...
plastic.
You muted, DM.
When is he not?
Yeah.
So yeah. If you want to try and like slap his hand away, it's easy enough. He seems pretty under the influence to begin with.
And also, when they were out, I would like to put a flash nade in the socket. Like, the tube is obviously still up,
Sure.
but I'm like loaded just in case
Okay.
I need to bounce.
You all, whoever's close enough, actually, I think it would just be Hendrickson.
Well, no, because Henderson went in. So when there was no one,
Oh, gotcha.
I like put it in, and I'm just like kind of
Gotcha.
just waiting.
Sure.
I'm there, but I went after Saffron, so I guess no.
Anyways, as you will, you kind of look over to the side right after Endless sort of attempts to pick you up. You just kind of like, hey, dude. You kind of back up a little bit. You look over to just behind him, as you see Zafriel now leaving the rusted. Will you please?
So, Zafriel looks to be in a disturbed state. Normally, he'd be wearing long white ceremonial robes with like a light teal trim along the edges with silk. But it's covered in gore, blood, some type of yellow liquid, you're not sure. Also, just mud everywhere, and his clothing is torn in several places. But you do see under the dirtied, slightly purplish skin, a bunch of white tattoos going up his left arm and his neck. He's got a ring on his bicep that, unless you know Celestial, you can't read. But he's got like a military cut, where it's shaved on the sides and super short on top, but it's stark white. He's got white irises, and I'm not sure if your character would be familiar, but he is a Asimar.
No idea. Hey, you're not gonna hurt me, right? Like,
Well, to be honest, I don't think I could even put forth the effort. What's your name?
my name is Door.
Hendrickson just cocks an eye. Door.
Yeah. My parents weren't very creative. It's their favorite furniture in their house.
He just gives Zafir. Hendrickson just gives you like a really strange look. Looks back at Endless, and then looks to you again, Pocket.
Door, we've got a table in there. Do you want some drinks?
Benz, who's paying?
I got you.
Okay. If you're willing, as long as you promise not to, like, take out my intestines when I'm drunk.
Oh, speaking of which, let me see your arm.
He kind of just very hesitantly, and he, like, has one arm on the tube and the other arm open. Kind of like, I don't know.
I
Like
approach.
the moment he removes his hand from the wound, it like spurts a little blood, which is concerning. But as you will.
Yeah, Zafriel. Remove his intestines through his arm.
Oh God!
You can't see Pocket's face.
Door, I am a cleric of Cord. I will heal your wounds. I cast Cure Wounds at first level, and that's my last spell slot.
Sure.
Come on, get 10, so I can be at full. Oh!
Got a 9.
Ah,
Yes.
shit.
It had to be one off.
So,
Yeah.
Pocket, you, begrudgingly or hesitantly, however you wish, proceed into the rusted. Meanwhile, Null, as you make your way into the mobile home, Saffron, how does he discover you?
She's just sitting on in the corner of the bed with um she's sitting in the corner of the bed with just the blanket over her legs, and she's just rubbing her temple. She's just right now she is just stressed out to the maximum right now,
Sure.
and she's just not feeling good for some reason. And right now she just wants to rip that fucking midget's head off and honestly put it on the hood of her wagon.
So Null will walk over and sit next to Saffron, and I don't know what to really say.
She just stops and rubbing her head, and she puts her hand on yours, and she just kind of sighs as her thumb kind of caresses like the knuckle of your thumb. She goes, "I'm sorry. I'm very just stressed out. I've had no way to help you, and can I help you when you returned? I had to hurt you. I had to fight you, and that's not on you. No, by Odin, that is not on you." She just like tears kind of like softly flowing down her cheeks. But I just had no way of helping you, just like our clan. And the thought of losing you, the last part of my world, I just was no help, and I'm sorry.
So Null puts his hand on her face, kind of like, I guess, like this, like rubbing the tears away with his thumb. And he's like, "You help more than you know. I was present for a lot of what happened when y'all were fighting me, and the same thoughts rushed through my mind. I was helpless, and I could not do anything as I watched the love of my life get nearly slaughtered in front of me. I am in control for now, and I hope that to Odin that I will forever be in control of my body. So, you do enough already. You are my anchor in my world. If it wasn't for you and the memory of you, I would have probably taken my life earlier."
She is like more tears flowing, but like rage is behind her eyes. Just like if Ragnarok itself has came, she's like, "I'm going to find Ragnaster, and I am going to kill him in more ways than not even hell could describe."
And I will be right there with you, my dear. I swear by Vidar that I will find that motherfucker. and I will pay him back 10 times what he did to me.
And she
Has
just,
like a flicker of blood red of his rage just kind of is in his eyes.
and she just embraces him and just cries.
And he embraces her, and they just sit there.
Meanwhile, Endless, Hendrickson, and Zafriel now have the tavern to themselves for the two individuals that I mentioned earlier. The darker toned human male and the older dwarf with a graying red beard have now left the space, and the only other person you really hear is the tavern keep. She must be cleaning the rooms or something that you must be staying in tonight, because you hear a lot of like walking back and forth and clunks and whatnot.
So, Door, as I'm taking a swig, what is that on your back?
You're muted.
Muted.
Can't hear you, Brandon.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
So, like, you see, it's not attached to his back. It's actually attached to his helmet. And you see, like, on the helmet, there's, like, a little track system that, you know, if you're an intelligent person, that it can go up and down. And Door says, well, this is my trusty cylinder. It helps lead me where I need to go and keeps me out of danger.
Again,
The trusty cylinder.
Hendrickson leans in a little bit closer. He's going to make an insight check. Will you roll a deception check?
I fail. It's total lie. Like,
Oh, you're not even
But-
going to roll? Yeah.
No, like,
Okay,
yeah.
so he leans forward. Okay, listen here. And he kind of winces a little bit because of the pain in his eye right when he says that, which kind of blows the whole machismo thing he was just trying to go for. But he leans in. We've been through a lot in the last 12 hours. And unless if you want your shit kicked in, I'd appreciate it if you stop fucking lying to us. Who in the world would name their child Dory? God damn it! Do you think we're stupid?
Saffron would be proud of him right now.
I love this man right now.
And then he just leans back into his chair and then suddenly like retracts completely and then looks to Zafriel for like judgment.
I just give him a sideways glance.
And then he looks back with a stern
Here,
brow.
young
like,
lad, drink this.
so I want to lean forward as he leans forward and just put both my hands on the table and kind of spread them out and say, I wouldn't mess with me, because you only have half your vision. You don't even know what I'm doing with my other hand right now.
He looks at Endless.
It's a total bluff. Both his hands are just flat.
Right.
And so, like,
I know, and that's why he looks at Endless. He like legitimately like believes it. He's a little.
At this point, like I slam my hands on the table and get close to him and be like, "Look, don't talk about him like that. I would recommend telling us who you are and what is your fucking name."
what's the feeling in the room? Like, what are the kind of what they're like? Am I feeling threatened right now, or am I like?
It's just like, what's the vibe? How's it going?
Roll me some insight.
Nat 1.
D&D Beyond sucks there.
Their attempts to intimidate you are going right over your head. You don't feel intimidated at all right now.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Hey, before you start trying to like do something to me, at least be courteous. You know, nice people get nice things. If you start treating me like a human being, then I'll start telling you my real name.
Hendrickson just like gives an odd look over at you, Endless, and then back at the individual, and then back at you.
I
Okay.
take one of my
So-
drinks and slide it forward and say, well, here's my first act of kindness.
I love it.
The name's Pocket. Pocket with a P.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but that almost sounds just as fake as Door.
Yeah, Henderson leans in. How the hell are we supposed to know you're telling the truth now, Pocket?
Okay. You got me. Okay. My name is Glia Clochiliaduz. But people call me Pocket.
I can see why.
Cleo, what?
I'll do the syllables. Glio,
Gleo. Gleo.
Calagia.
Calagia.
Does.
Interesting. Okay.
Or Pocket with a P.
Cool. With a P, Hot Pocket. I like it.
Yeah, you can call me Hot Pocket. That's kind of cool.
Maybe one day I'll make up a jingle for you.
Not to change the direction here, but what brings you to this town? Because we're currently after something that may be a bit dangerous.
Well, I was just passing through. What are you looking for?
Have you seen... They're humanoid in shape, but it looks like they were sewn together. Black hair.
Pocket, before he can even finish the description, you are taken back to a couple nights ago when you were on the main road traveling west. You had just passed Terranford, and you didn't it wasn't a near escape of your life, but you had been overcome by a lot. Four like miscombobulated humanoids, sort of as if like maybe some of them were sporting limbs that they shouldn't have and were like surgically sewn to their bodies, or potentially some that even looked like that had like much more pointed, exaggerated features. But all of these abominations that you've run into personally all sort of seem to fit the same general theme of lithe face with a sort of like sometimes sporting a goatee, but like infamously sporting like long greasy strands of hair that sort of clump together and don't flow right. If you remember, you also bumped into these last campaign.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I run into a lot of people with black hair. I think it's like the most common hair color. So you're gonna have to be more specific.
Stupid.
Well,
Stupid.
were there a bunch of them naked trying to eat you?
I didn't get that close to them. They eat you?
Can I jump in next.
What's up, Null?
Yeah, can I I was just gonna say like I'd like me and Saffron to head back to the bar.
Sure. Yeah.
At this point. I guess Battlemore, because I had an idea. I thought that'd be nice. So Nal looks at Saffron and asks, "How about we get a drink? We could honestly use one at this point." I think the others went back to the tavern.
She nods her head. That sounds like a wonderful idea.
So Nal will grab her hand and like kind of like whether following him, head out the door, and then just like with a whole hand, just grab her ass and like pick her up. I don't know how to describe the carrying position, but it's like this. I'll post it
in distress.
like the one I posted in general and just carry her towards the tavern.
She
Oh, sure. Okay. And
that's fair.
we'll say it's at that point in the conversation, you two will walk in. But please, as you were.
Well, so regardless if you've been close to them or not, yes, they will eat you. But what we went through the other night, our friend Njal over here was taken over and turned into one. And we all very nearly died.
You look
I have
at
news
Zephyr
on that matter.
As they walked in, like at this perfect moment, and he approaches the table that you all are occupying.
It's like Hendrickson said. It's been a rough 12 hours.
Is there a chair to sit in at the table or at the on one?
On the other side of the room, like mind you, the room itself is like 10 feet across, you know? So you just grab the only other table on the other side of the room and just kind of pull it and make it one big table. And that way everyone can sit at the...
Okay. Well, hopefully this chair can hold up. So I sit down with like Saffron in my lap, because at this point it's holding him like to the world at this point. And I have news. I don't know if it's real. I don't know if it's a lie. I don't know anything at this point. But earlier I just was sitting down and all of a sudden I was teleported back to God knows where. It was a medical surgical table of some sort, and all I remember is hearing a soft elderly woman's voice and then a piercing pain. That's all I remember.
This is something we should not speak about right now. Let us find some peace in the moment that we have.
Although I agree, let me know, or let us all know, if something else like that happens again.
Agreed.
We need to be able to monitor this.
If it does, you will most likely know, because it feels like reality, like I'm gone back. If that happens, restrain me.
Hendrickson just looks so deep into his brow as he looks at you if you happen to make eye contact. And again, you feel this sort of like, interpret it how Njal would, but you feel this sort of empathetic wave of emotion sort of pass from Hendrickson onto you, and you sort of are able to lock eyes in the moment. And he leans in. We are here for you. And he takes another sip of his ale, which he's been nursing this whole time.
At this point, Njal just starts drinking like everything in front of him, just everything. Orders more, just go, just like going with it.
So our plans have kind of changed now. We need to get the wagon back in full operation. And where do we go now?
We will, as she puts her hand up to get the innkeeper's attention.
And it's not hard because of the size of this place. She actually, when you get her attention, she's coming down the steep stairs I mentioned, and she seems to be carrying what seems to be several big trays of loaves of bread. I hope you all are hungry. I'm starting dinner. It'll be done in like maybe 2 hours.
We are. Can I get a cup of water?
Of course, darling. I'll be right back. And she just goes back into the kitchen area. And
What was your name, stranger?
He kind of just like moves his head. He hasn't taken off his mask yet, and he actually slid the shot that Anglis gave and pushed it over to Njal.
Well, my name is Hot Pocket, or that's what Anglis, or that's what that guy said my name is.
Hot Pocket.
Pocket. It's a peculiar name. More peculiar was with the mask.
It's kind of like my code. I'm like the man who doesn't have a face, who has many names, and who does nice things occasionally.
That sounds stupid.
That point where how drunk I am, I'm just like, yeah, I like it. You're like invisible.
I'm not in the world.
Stupidity follows stupidity, I guess, as he drinks.
Poke Null in the chest. We need more drinks.
And Saturn will just decline a drink and just ask again for water.
As she comes back, she brings 3 loaves of bread that had just come out of the oven maybe half an hour ago, still a little steamy, and she pours she grabs this little glass jar and takes off it's corked with a glass lid as she pulls it off and starts to pull this golden liquid all over the bread. This is my uncle's honey. It comes from up north. It's very special. I thought you guys would like it. And she's trying to smears it on, gives some butter to put with it, and alright, you're going to have some water. It looks like we need more drinks. How's everybody doing?
We're alive.
We
As
need more
she
alcohol, it sounds like, everybody. I'll be right back.
Food and alcohol. Question, music change, or are we still keeping the dreary music?
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant that.
No.
Yeah, let's, yeah, my bad. Let's change it.
Oh, I was like, I guess it's a creepy looking town, so it fits, but I was like, I'll ask.
No, we can change it up. Yeah, sure. Sorry, my bad, everybody.
No, you're
I
good.
guess at this point it would be a little more appropriate. Let's see here. What's this
I
one?
don't know any of your guys' names.
No.
I'm Saffron.
Zafriel.
And this Slagny.
That's English.
I knew he was lying. He's just, you can just tell. He has it in his voice.
No, it was my name backwards. I was testing your intelligence.
I am as sharp as my sword dagger.
The irony is unfathomable.
The one that got tossed in you?
No.
Yeah.
I have like a little dagger. It's like a dagger that you'd use for like carving wood, but I have it nonetheless.
And it's at that a short time passes, and a pretty hearty meal is served. There seems to be some sort of beef stew. It tastes as if it maybe was made about a week and a half ago, so it's getting to that point where, like, maybe throw it out soon. A large baked potato and the bread, of course, is served, as well as a number of drinks that have been coming down the line. It's at this point, for those who were consuming alcohol up until this point, you all are feeling a little drunk and a little wooey. As the afternoon hours start to transition more into the evening hours, the chill starts to come into the town, and you see the keep throw some wood on a wood-burning stove, which quickly and uncomfortably heats up the space. What would you guys like to do as you continue to enjoy your little tavern stay in this small-ass town?
Switch to drinking water. No more alcohol. I think I'm gonna that and just eat food.
Sure.
I think that from all of the trials and hardships we've had to face, we are a group now.
We need a name.
Hendrickson, at this point, feels totally inspired by the phrase itself that Zafriel mentions, and slams his fist on the ground. I will give my life for all of you. Maybe not you, Pocket, but we have been through some shit. And I know because of the power of Cord that we can do anything. And it's at this point, the beer that he's been nursing for the last 2 hours has only been like, he still has 3/4 of it left. He just, in that moment, slams it on the table and attempts to chug it. And like gets like 3 gulps down before he kind of burp coughs into his drink and then has to stop. But, you know.
I follow him too.
Saffron will smile and be like, you do your gods proud, Hendrik. She hasn't touched any of her food. Only had like maybe a few sips of her water. She clearly just looks exhausted and just looks like she's not feeling all too well. She's like, we do need a name when we are a group. Something we can think of tomorrow. She kisses Noel on the cheek and goes, you spend time with them. They're our allies now. I'm gonna go to bed early. Just make sure you come to bed. And she kisses his forehead before she heads off to the mobile home.
Alright, I'll be there soon. Make sure to eat.
She just waves her hand off as she walks out.
And as soon as that, the space becomes yours once more.
Can I would actually like to walk out if no one stops me and climb on top of the roof.
Okay, Endless, you were also just about to say something, were you?
I can't remember.
I will ask Pocket where he's going.
It's just stuffy in here. I don't like how hot it is. It's like when you have the AC turned up all the way to defrost the windows and then it gets too hot in the car. It's kind of like that.
Well, you know, Pocket, if you take off your mask or your whatever, you might not be so hot.
Yeah, it's just kind of, when you have like 4 men in this room, it just doesn't do the room any favors. You know what I mean?
Hendrickson at this point, acting probably more drunk than he actually is, because you get the impression maybe he doesn't drink that often. He starts like kind of like doing this whole head bobbing thing, stands up. Okay, little man, I know the tricks you're trying to pull on us. You should take your mask off. Let's see what you got. Come on, look at this. Do you want me to take my bandages off? And he starts to kind of like unravel them. If Zafriel, if you don't stop him, he just will continue to take his bandages off.
I slap him in the back of the head.
Oh, son. Sorry, sire. And he just like bashfully, like quickly wraps his head back up.
Listen, I'll play a game with
If you don't,
Oh, go ahead, Anglis.
if you don't listen to my little buddy, I'm gonna show you my little buddy. See?
And Hendrickson just looks over at you, and it's at this moment you hear, and from the ceiling you watch as Jeffrey comes down right beside. It's probably like if a spider, like he stands like about 3.5 feet tall off the ground. So he
Imagine a pit-bull-sized spider.
just kind of crawls down the ceiling.
Pit-bull-sized.
And he pulls out his gun and he shoots it.
Jeffrey, whatever.
He's afraid of spiders.
That's her response.
Right as you pull out your gun, whoa! And Hendrickson just dives over the table. No, please! Don't. He's a friend. This is Jeffrey. And he gets like goosebumps rolling down his,
What the fuck?
He gets like goosebumps down his neck. He's like, look, he made me this. And he like begrudgingly grabs the scarf from his person and presents it to you. Please.
I want to grab it.
Yeah, you do, and it like is slightly adhesive, but like it seems like it could keep you warm.
Henderson, I really appreciate this. It's kind of cold outside.
And he wraps it around and he just walks out.
Oh, no problem. As you exit the tavern.
Hendrick said it's okay.
Wow.
I can make you another.
Thank you, Endless. I appreciate it. And he just kind of looks at the table.
I meant to ask everybody this, but I think I already know Saf's answer. Am I still a member of this group and welcome among you?
Well, I'll tell you. I want you to live for another day so we can fight for real. Wrestling
I'll hold
matches
you to
aside,
that.
man.
Wrestling matches aside, you said?
Yeah.
I'll hold you to that.
No, I want you to know that I love you, and I was so worried, and because I can definitely out drunk you right now.
We've drank about the same amount, I think, at this point.
I think Njal can hold his liquor better than Endless. By the
No,
Oh, for sure, because I'm just chilling.
no, you're fucked up, and we need another drink.
No,
Thank
actually,
you.
finally, I think for the first time since you fought him, gives a decently hearty laugh. And just like old times, smacks you right in the back. But, with about twice the force because he doesn't know his own new monster strength.
Right.
Now Null has like 20 strength. He has max strength. So it's like a thunderclap of a smack on your back.
And Endless, because of like your state of being inebriated, you're not able to like prepare yourself before it, and like for a moment it actually does kind of knock the wind out of you a little bit.
Thank you, my friend.
And you make your way back to the tavern. I mean, to the mobile home. Is that what you're doing? No?
Is there any other business y'all'd like to talk to? I think I'd turn in tonight.
Dude, I'm good as I just kind of like turn around and puke a little bit.
Zaf?
Well, I don't think, I think he's just gonna go up to his room.
Okay, so yeah, I'll head to the mobile home. I got a woman waiting for me.
So, Endless, soon you are left by yourself. And you're sort of kind of at the table, and there's like 2 loaves of bread that still haven't been touched. A whole plate of food that hasn't been eaten because Saffron didn't touch her food much. And you're sort of kind of sitting in a sea of empty cups and finished plates. What are you thinking about right now?
At this point, I'm really kind of lost in thought as I'm looking around at the table of food. What happened to Hendrickson? Anglus, it really sent Anglus kind of back in time to what happened with his brother and the necromancer that killed him. And he sees a lot of that in Hendrickson because he watches as like Hendrickson follows Zafriel around and just gets back to how his brother was, and think, I should probably really sober up, and I grab a plate and slide it to me and chow down for a minute.
As you're kind of sitting there, and sort of kind of acknowledge the similarities you have with Zafriel and Hendrickson that you do with you and your late brother, and it's hard when that happens because, in a sense, it makes you feel a little warm inside. That, like, even after all this time, he still has influence on you in this way. But it's short-come by all the trauma of the event itself, and unworked out beef that you have with each other. Even when it happened, it all kind of comes to you as you try and take a bite of your bread before you, and you find yourself in a space where you're thankful for the people you're with now, because before this, it's just been you for a while. And, there might be some parts of you that aren't 100% comfortable with this new group of people, but there's a part of you that sees some hope in what you guys are trying to do. And with that, Pocket, you make your way outside, and you want to get up on top of the roof of the tavern?
Yeah, I think I just want to take 1 second and sit on the stairs of the tavern, if there are any, kind of like the steps.
Yeah, there's like one wooden step.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to sit on that and take out just a coin and just like stare at the coin for, like a good minute, 2 minutes, thinking about what I've been through and what just happened to me. And kind of just toss it up in the air if like this was fate, if that makes sense. Like if I was meant to be here, or
and see these people.
Yeah, or if I should just leave.
Okay. So you kind of flip the coin up in the air. Just kind of lands back down. You catch it. Do you want to look?
Yeah.
So it's the standard Empire gold coin on one side has a feather, and then the other side has what looks to be like a mason's hammer, and it lands feather side up.
Man, you never trust the first time. I'm gonna do it again.
So you flip one more time.
God.
Mason.
And as it lands right back on the top of your hand, you kind of like beat out the hammer this time.
Okay, this is just bonkers.
I'm gonna take off my mask and just kind of like just super stressed. And turn around and start to climb as Njal comes out the door and kind
Do I
of
see his face?
Yes, you see him like mid-climb up the side of the building, and he looks over at you, you look over at him. Will you describe what you look like?
Yeah, it's like a grayish green color, almost like a green that's been worn out.
We have the same skin color then, because that's what mine is.
Yeah, similar. With a very large nose, not a long, just like his nose takes up a large portion of his face, and he has like a couple warts, just on the right side that have a little bit of blood, kind of some scabs because he just itches at them. But he has these like emerald red eyes. And if you put his eyes on a different person, you'd think he'd, that would be beautiful. But because he's him, he doesn't look that great. And he has like a super curly mustache, like super curly. It looks like a worm is just on his lip. And super bushy eyebrows to the point that it looks like fantasy over exaggerated.
Like almost covers the eyes, but not quite.
Yeah. It shrinks
Super
the forehead.
bushy.
Yeah, I'm a bushy dude.
So Njal just sees this. He's like, honestly, at this point, I don't care. But if the others if you want to keep the secret from the others, I'll keep it. But just know me and my wife used to slaughter the shit out of orcs and goblins. So take it as you will. And I just walk to the mobile home.
Wait.
Hmm.
Can you give me a boost?
Yeah, I grab him.
I just
If-
kind of like.
Where do you want to go? Where am I aiming?
Put me at the top.
So much like Uncle Rico, you throw him with a perfect spiral as he just kind of flies up
Here
to
you
the
go,
roof.
Tiny.
The name's Pocket. Hey, and anytime you want to go murdering some goblins, I'll join you, man. Sometimes I'm a murder hobo. Like 1% of the time.
I'll hold you to it. Here you go, Tiny. And I toss you up there.
So, with that, everyone, including Endless, at some point when you've reached some point of solace, will retire for the evening. I'll be right back. I need to use the bathroom.
Okay.
We're gonna pick up on the next morning.
Okay.
Honestly, it's advanced. When you come to the mobile home, Saffron is already like there's like the furnace is just like about to die out, and she's out cold.
I'll just toss another log or two on there. Kind of
And-
stoke it back up.
And you'll see the blood's been washed off from the walls, and the sword and the other sword's been removed. So it looks like she cleaned up a little bit before passing out.
Null will just draw a bath because he hasn't had one since.
So basically,
forever.
how the bath works. So the barrel is on the front side of the wagon behind the door. So you'd put the there's like a metal water holder. You'll put it on top of the furnace. It boils. You'll put it in. It'll take you like 30 minutes to fill it up, but that's a process.
Well,
Back
we're
in
gonna
this time
skip
period.
by all that. So I just get in there and take a real good bath for the first time in like I don't know how long it's been, days, week, like a half a week or something. So
I
it's
think you
just
gotta add at least a month on there from the transformation, you know?
well, I mean, like since his disappearance, he hasn't had a bath pretty much.
Right, I'm not saying you've been gone for a month, but
Well, yeah.
yeah, there's a certain amount of taint that's, you know, the black ichor is still on you.
Well, yeah. Null keeps himself clean. Every Saturday, he grooms himself really well, or whatever Saturday is in this game.
Like a cat?
No, like Viking tradition, you like Saturdays are like really important to groom and clean yourself
Yep.
with water and soap, you weirdo. So he'll
You
just do
you
that.
gotta open up those butt cheeks and get the stink out.
Yeah, man, he's getting all cleaned up for his lady. I was gonna wait for Colton to come back, but it's next part.
And I have one more thing I want to do before we go to bed.
Okay, same.
All right.
Hey Colton,
Yes.
there was one thing I wanted to do
Yeah.
before
okay.
bed.
Okay.
So, Null went back to the mobile home, stoked the fire, and took a bath for the first time in God knows since he's been disappeared.
Yeah.
Just to get all cleaned up for his lady to get in bed. Can't go to bed dirty. So he takes off the covers. You're asleep, right, Saffron?
Yeah, keep sleeping.
So Null will just like, with his hand around her waist, just pull her in closer, just to have more warmth and just to be close to her. And just like it's the first time seeing her, would just look from head to toe and just caress the side of her face. Like it's like just memorizing, and then just give her a kiss and fall to sleep.
And you know, like as much of a state that you've been in the last however many hours now at this point, it's nothing's more like absolutely comforting like than being able to lay next to Saffron and like know that at least for this moment you two are safe. And
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better.
however though, can you roll a, let's make it a intelligence saving throw or wisdom? I don't really know which one I should.
The two lowest I got. I like it. It doesn't matter. They're both zeros.
What should I? Oh yeah, you know what? Let's say intelligence save.
Okay. I'll just roll my dice because I like doing that. A flat 10.
So as you fall asleep, the last thing you really hear before you lose complete consciousness is the sound of Saffron quietly breathing next to you, and the heart that's pumping in your chest. As you sort of slip off into a space that's more familiar than not, flashes of bright white light with your hands above your face as such to help shield them. You look around and you see that you seem to be appearing to be sitting on some sort of large iron smooth table, polished even, that's reflecting some of the light that's above you. And you realize, though, from the perspective you look over to the side of you, and you notice there are 3 other people that share a similar physique to yours, but 2 of them are Goliaths and the other is a human male. Actually, you're technically taller than the lot of them, and you see the 3 of them essentially kind of like. Imagine like being like you're standing, but like you're bound to the ground. So there's like, but because of the slack of the chain, they only really can move maybe 6 inches, and all 3 of them have like large bulging out eyes that are now starting to sport, like you see like literal black strands of hair fall out of their scalp down and hang below their shoulder blades, and they look over to you. You gotta go, and they just all like are begging you to get out of there. And it's at this point you realize you've been restrained this whole time, and that's when you wake up to the sound of a large cawing bird just sort of caw as it flies and flutters across, and the very early morning light peers through one of the shades and just kind of strikes you in the face, and for a moment you try to jump because the bright light just confuses you, and the suddenness awakens Saffron. Other than that, everyone has a nice rest, including
Njal would get triggered by that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he did.
I just wanted to roll a perception check to see if anyone was coming into town. Like, I was just making sure that I was safe tonight before I curl up on the roof and fall asleep.
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
make a perception check.
16.
Nothing. This town's a fucking ghost town, dude.
Okay. Well, then I'll like kind of have my dark green cloak kind of like cover me, so I'm just like a weird piece of cloth on the roof as I kind of just doze off.
So Njal will like shoot up with the light like in his eyes, just like it's almost like still going on with the white light, and like throw his hands up, throwing the sheet off like he's trying to pull the chains.
Yeah.
And just like and just sweat just dripping down off his face, and he's like, ah!
And Saffron will, get, shocked, like being woken up like this, and at first she's at alert, but then she quickly understands what's happening, and she just comes behind him and hugs him and just puts her forehead against the back of his neck and just keeps whispering, "You're safe. You are safe."
Which up?
Njal will calm down a little bit.
After some balance has returned to the situation, it's at this point, Saffron, you feel extremely ill, and need somewhere to freaking throw your life up from your stomach, because whatever's in you needs out now.
She like quickly like rushes over Null and kicks the mobile home's door open, and she just like falls underneath and she starts vomiting
Oh
while
yeah.
grabbing her stomach.
And the shitty thing about it too is like you didn't eat much dinner last night, so a lot of this is just like bile and it's just burning coming up. But after a few moments, you're able to like take some deep breaths and kind of like, oh, you have like a cold sweat coming down your forehead, and it's pretty. You're empty for sure.
Null comes up behind her and like holds her hair up while she's doing this.
And then she just grabs her stomach like in pain, like just severe pain. And she just kind of lets like a small cry out with her eyes squinted.
You need to eat something. I think you're ill. You also need some rest. I'll see if Zafrael can come by and check you out later.
She's just trying to take deep breaths. She's like, get him now, please get him now. She's just like almost like on the verge of like crying, like the cramp is just so bad in her stomach.
Oh, with like some cracking thunder of a step, bam, blows the door off its hinges. Just wherever the room is, just blowing doors open, looking for Zafrael.
Yeah, and you do so, and in fact, Pocket, right when he like blows the door off the hinges, mind you, not hard to do in the first place. It was a shitty door to begin with, but
fuck that door.
With the amount of force and aggressiveness, you just plow right through. It's like as if it's a defensive line. Doing so startles you awake, Pocket, and Zafrael. Does he find you awake or asleep when he barges in?
Zafriel's awake. Seriously, I cannot take another more urgent issue. What's going on?
Saffron's throwing up. She looks like she's in some pain. She hasn't been eating since yesterday. I'm worried about her.
Well, probably the nerves. The alcohol didn't help either. I suspect
She didn't drink any.
Well. Alright, well, let me see what I can do.
Poor Zafrael. Saffron.
Hendrickson is in like the middle of polishing his armor right now. Zafrael's armor.
I would assume that I redress his wounds when we wake up.
Yeah.
Oh, and as we're walking back out, Null, is your forehead doing okay?
Well, yeah. Oh, I think you hit me in the head, didn't you?
I did. It was an attempt to knock you out, and it took a bit more than that.
I'm glad I have a thick skull.
Me too. Got a little, well, you know how it is with rage, right?
Yes.
Only
Quickly though. Let's go.
Swiftly, you see there is like, as much as Null's trying to respect your questions, he's kind of like walking with a faster pace than you, seemingly more urgent. And you make your way out, and you just see Saffron just kind of standing to the side of the mobile home, just sort of like, gaining her composure.
Can I describe this part?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, cool. So when you guys get back, you actually see there's actually another bile puddle on the ground, and the mobile home door is open, but Saffron is not outside, but she's inside, and you can kind of hear her like kind of crying out in pain a little bit.
So Zafriel just fetches some water and just goes in there.
She's like halfway on the bed. She's like one arm is gripping her stomach in like a lot of pain.
Go ahead and make a medicine check for me, Zafriel. If you want Hendrickson's assistance, he'll be there, or not.
I feel like the space would be a bit crammed, right?
No,
I think Zafriel will just do this himself. He'll leave Hendrickson in the room.
Okay.
Oh. First thing in the morning, that's a 12.
So after spending about 5-7 minutes going over
checking vitals and everything.
Yeah, you kind of go through
Smart.
the strategies you would employ to deploy rather to try and figure out someone's health, and after asking a series of questions and, checking for fever or anything, the only thing that can really come to mind in your medical opinion is pregnancy. Or something along the lines.
Say, Sovereign, when was your last menstrual cycle?
She just kind of looks at you, and her brow just arches as she kind of slides back a little bit, just because.
Null does the same. Like,
She's like,
No, I can't be certain, but from the symptoms, I really don't think it's anything serious. If it gets worse, let me know. But for right now, I really think it'd be wise to eat something, even if you have to force yourself.
you're just thinking about the question. She's like, I mean, and she kind of like coughs a little bit, kind of like gets a little flustered. And she's like, it's I would say that I should have had it by now, but I haven't. And she kind of like coughs and like looks to the side, like that anime kind of thing, like
super, like totally embarrassed, like Lassie would be.
Well, but I think you should be okay. Like I said, just keep me informed.
she
See myself out.
what do you think it is? Did he say? I didn't.
No, he didn't really say. He only really implied.
What do you think it is, Zeph?
Well, I don't think it's any type of cold.
Okay.
I really just think with all the emotion flying throughout the last couple of days, the lack of eating, and the intense emotion, I think her body's just done for the moment. Just some rest, food, but also there are possibilities of pregnancy as well. I don't have a whole lot of ways to test that here, though.
Wow. I don't know what to say. That would be great news. Wow. Well, thank you.
Don't take that with a grain of salt. I can't be certain.
Of course. You need to do more doctor tests. I know the test names. I'm acting like a null. It's hard. It's hard. It's so hard. I'm sure you need to run more medical tests. I'll make her some food though. So Null will just turn around and like, you lay in bed. I'll make you some food.
she'll just say, she's like, I wouldn't mind some of that porridge from the inn. And she just kind of gets comfortable slowly because her stomach is just killing her right now. The cramps are just like beyond anything she's experienced.
Okay, then instead I'll go and do that.
Okay. Endless and Pocket, what have you guys been up to this morning? Zephyr, if you want, you can retire to the. Am I muted?
No, you're good.
Oh.
No, I was muted. Sorry.
Oh. Zephyr, if you also want to retire to your quarters with Hendrickson and call it there, you can bounce out if you need to.
Yeah, sorry. I think I'm just gonna have Zafriel just. If the group ends up deciding to move towns, sure. But aside from that, Zafriel is just gonna have some mental recuperation of his own and just go back to his quarters.
So, with that, Zafriel retires for the morning. Endless, like I was mentioning, and Pocket, please feel free to jump in with things you're doing this morning.
I would like to hunt food for breakfast. I would like to try to find 4 rats and then make some skewers, some nice like rat skewers, but I want to chop pieces of them off. Like I want it to be like a kebab, you know?
Yeah, man.
And like take some bark and like kind of smoke bark and rat and like season it with some cumin and some smoked paprika.
Yeah, and it's specific smoked paprika from Cradmall. They don't sell it in the Empire for specific reasons right now, but so you pull this out and it just reminds you of home as you sort of like sprinkle it over these crusty, disgusting rats that you found behind the tavern. And you just have a small private fire kind of roasting their flesh away, getting ready for some food.
Yeah, put some oil on it to make it crispy,
Yeah,
kind of like
for
a
sure.
chicken wing.
Yeah, dude.
Nasty.
And then I want to eat the 3 kebabs, and I gain 9 temporary hit points. And then I'll just save 1 for later.
Okay.
So, Endless, what are you doing this morning?
I'm sitting down. I would have came down, and I'm sitting down at the tavern, drinking a cup of coffee, trying to cure my hangover and my headache, and kind of reflect on everything that happened last night. And I think, I'm really glad that we got Null, and we're doing a little bit better, and that's about it for now. That's what I'm doing.
Okay, as the morning goes on, you all are able to, Saffron as well. Everyone is able to sort of get some food in their bellies and get ready for the day. Is there at any point before the afternoon where Pocket and Endless would be in the same space? You're muted.
I'll just be outside until other people come outside.
Okay, Endless, do you think you'll ever have a moment of bumping into Pocket before this afternoon?
I'm sure maybe because I'm not gonna be once I'm done with breakfast. I'm gonna walk out through the tavern doors.
Sure.
You mean the tavern hole?
Yeah,
There's
actually
no
door
tavern door.
anymore. It's busted off, and someone has politely leaned it up against.
I was gonna say I was gonna fix that.
That's totally doable. You fixed many a doors.
Yeah, I was just gonna hang it up and just put some nails in or something.
Yeah, for sure, totally doable. But Endless, after you finish your breakfast for the morning, which it's actually pretty good. It's like it's basically a large pancake, but it doesn't have like a lot of sugar in it, so it was more pan than cake, if you catch my drift. But after finishing a pretty hearty meal, you kind of take a look around the town, and again, much like the day before, just a lot more overcast, like not a lot of sun shining through the clouds. But as you kind of make your way around, you do see Pocket chilling in the back of the tavern, looking like he's sitting next to a fire that's maybe gone out a half hour ago.
I'm gonna approach him.
I do have my mask on at this point, by the way. After breakfast, I would have put it on.
Okay. Yeah.
And I still I at this point I still haven't seen your face, right?
Correct.
I'm gonna approach him and just be like, "Hey, you're that guy from last night. Guillotine, done."
Yep, I'm Guillotine. Guillotine gun. That's me.
What are you doing? No, that wasn't it. Something about being hot. Oh shit.
I'm hot Guillotine gun. That's me.
All right, well, what you got going on here?
Well, I just made breakfast. You want a kebab?
And I hand you it. I cleaned the rat, and like it doesn't have you don't know what it is, but you do see some smoked bark and some meat that's seasoned and cooked.
I reach out and take it, and I say, "Hey, thank you," and I'll sit down next to him, and I go, not even gonna question what it is, and I take a bite.
Holy shit.
It's
Oh, go ahead.
oh
No.
I was just gonna say, actually, it is absolutely delicious. You don't know what it is, but for not knowing what it is, you're actually you're pleasantly surprised.
I will say
of
one
the-
thing, Endless. This is something, it's spiced in such a way that, like, you haven't eaten food like this, at least Empire side, for a while. And in fact, it takes you right back to your childhood. your mom would cook with a specific spice that she would get from Cragmaw and use it in her dishes, and it all happens in an instant as you take a bite of this rat. And in fact, you're just loaded up with so much dopamine in the moment from the memory. It kind of masks the fact that you're just kind of eating a rat at the moment.
And maybe some heart.
Hey, this is really good. I'm not like. Thank you very much. This is really delicious.
Yeah, cooking's like my side hustle.
Yeah. Okay. So, what's your? If you don't mind me asking, what's your deal?
One gold a day, and then I'd like some bonuses as well.
Oh no, I mean, like, why the math, buddy?
Wait, you weren't offering me a job?
No, I'm asking you, like, why the mask, and why'd you stop to talk to us last night?
Well, when I saw a man who stabbed himself in the throat, I was like, ooh. Usually I don't stop to help people. I kind of let people be people and I'm on my way. But I guess when things get that desperate, I'll come and help. And then that's when I get a sword thrown at me. So last time I'm helping crazy people. But
I think that was still a pretty noble thing for you to do.
Yeah, I'd say that too. I'm like an aspiring knight. That's why I wear the mask. Just like a knight with glory and...
Dude just lies. Everything he says lies.
Can I,
What would you like to do, Endless? Actually, you know what? Make a perception check because you couldn't decide fast enough.
Okay. Let's see. That's a 12 plus 2, 14.
14? So right now, imagine if you will, you're behind the tavern, and the two closest buildings on either side are about 6 or 8 feet away, so it's not really an alleyway, it's more like a larger space in between buildings, and it's because of this amount of space that you were able to, just in that amount of time, you see a simple like brown and black leather cloak draped over a humanoid form approaching a house across the street. If you were to draw a southeastern diagonal line from you, knocking on the door. And the only reason why it caught your attention in the first place is because of the black and gold hat that they're sporting with a, goldish yellow feather sticking out of the cap, much like Robin Hood.
Great. Oh, great. Shit, these guys again.
Do I notice it?
You see him starting to freak out, and you look over your shoulder, and you do indeed see this gentleman.
Oh, they're after you?
Hey, Hot Pocket, right?
Yeah.
What was that deal again?
You were making the deal. I need to take a leak.
And I am gonna book it for the forest.
Yeah, and you just see him instantly running off. Do you go off with him? Mind you, the forest is like not legitimately within running distance from here, but you can head that direction.
Yeah, I'm getting out of here.
Right as that happens, he starts to book it, and the commotion from the stirring up gravel is just enough for this ranger from across the street to pick up with its with their very trained, sensitive ears, looks over, and there's a moment where they meet eye contact with you. Endless, you got like 2 seconds to do something before shit starts going down.
How far away is he?
Like at least 50 feet, 55 feet.
Feet?
Yeah.
I am going to pull my longbow and just take a shot. That's 11 plus 16.
16 hits, and one of the reasons why you have instilled confidence in this moment is every time you've been tracked down by these fuckers, there's 2 of them. As you roll the hit, you fire an arrow. The gentleman, as he meets eye contact, is just about to pull something from his cloak before he gets pinned to the door that he was just knocking on, and just kind of it pulls out the arrow. Let's roll for initiative real quick.
As Saffron
where
was.
would we be?
You're in your mobile home right now.
Okay, I was gonna go to try and look for like some metal, but I'm down with this. Who are these people? I don't know.
It's 16.
Wait. Wasn't Noel went to go get me porridge from the inn?
Well, that was like the morning. I thought this was like a little
Yeah, I
later.
think this is a little after break.
Oh, is it okay?
Yeah.
No, you haven't ran into these guys yet.
Okay.
English, are you gonna like yell anything for all of us to know, or?
No.
I mean, you guys hear a scream come out from. You hear the man scream.
What was our group name?
We didn't decide on a group yet. 2 of us voted for 3.
I
Zap
did
sounded
too.
like you just went with whatever.
Also, I rolled an 18 for initiative.
18. Okay, let me get that real quick before we go anywhere else. My love, can I have a pen or a pencil or something?
Oh, jeez.
All right. 25 to 20. 15 to 20. What you got?
18.
18.
16.
English, let's go.
Got a 16 as well.
Oh, dang.
Who has the
Roll
higher,
off?
Who has a higher modifier?
I got a +3.
What do you got, Endless?
It's a +4.
Okay, so Nal will go first, then Endless. Okay, and
I got
then
10.
10 for you. Okay, let me roll for Batty. Okay. Oof. Okay. So, Saf and Nal, you're at the top of the initiative. At the moment, you hear
Right.
a scream come from outside of the mobile home.
And it's like a.
Not quite that intense, but it's pretty loud, yeah, because his shoulder pretty much gets fucking pinned to the door. So, Saf, you're up first. Nal, you're on deck. What are you doing?
She just like her eyes are like wide when she hears a scream, and she just like kind of like sighs, and she gets up kind of on her stomach, and she grabs her quiver. So she's just wearing her like Viking styled casual pants and shirt, but no boots. And she just grabs her quiver and grabs her bow. And she, kind of bending over, just to hold the pain a little bit at bay. She rushes outside of the mobile home.
Okay. As you, I'm sorry, you're going to have to
Gotcha.
say the last part of that. I was sending the thing to.
Oh, she's like kind of like bent over a little bit, just trying to deal with the cramping pain.
Sure.
And she rushes out of the mobile home. Does she see them?
So you rush out. The only thing you see is the same 3 people who were sitting on the porch. Then when you rolled into town, are sitting in the same exact spot, and an individual maybe approximately 45 feet away from you across the street. He's pinned to a house that's 2 houses down from you, essentially, and his shoulder. He's currently in the process of pulling an arrow out of his shoulder. You don't see any of your allies, though.
She just thinks about it, with her history of archery. sees that the arrow had to come from the tavern. I'm guessing at that angle.
You
And
also have memories of
Trajectory.
these guys when you all were in
oh, when I fucked them up from like 80 feet away.
when you guys were in Windshire.
Oh yeah.
You bumped into these guys. Yeah.
No. They bumped into them. I fucked them up.
Yes, that's what happened. Exactly.
I fucked them up so bad.
Their iconic black and gold split like Robin Hood like hat with the gold feather in the hat is a dead giveaway.
She just yells. She just says, "These motherfuckers," and she is gonna pull her arrow back, and she's gonna whisper to the arrow as orange and red Nordic runes go up the arrow as she's about to fire her explosive shot.
Fuck yeah. What happens when that is a thing?
So what it does is when she whispers, the arrow shaft gets covered in like orange and red, glowing Nordic runes, and the tip glows like a bright red. I'm bright, like it's like you think the metal was going to melt.
Sure.
And she's gonna fire it at him. Let me see here.
Fuck yeah.
I got a natural 20.
God damn. Okay, that hits. Go ahead and roll
Damn.
for damage. What happens with the explosive arrow? I can't remember. Is there a save involved?
Oh wait, no, it wasn't a natural. Sorry, it's 11 plus a 9, but it's still a 20.
That still hits.
It explodes. It like legitimately. Let me see here. Like this is like one of my one arrow you really don't want to get hit by. Let me see here. Okay. Bursting arrow. Immediately after the arrow hits a creature, the target and all other creatures within 10 feet take 2d6 force damage.
Damn. Okay, so that's 2d6 plus your d8 from your arrow.
Yep.
Let's see what you
So
do.
let me see here. Okay, so let me see. Do I just? Okay, so it's 2d6. Okay, so d8, d100, d10. Well, so it we should be damaged anyway. So there's that. Let's go here, and then let's see here. So 6 damage. So 9 damage in total.
Okay, as you pull this arrow and pull the string taut, the Nordic runes sort of and light up the arrowhead, and it almost gives the illusion of it dripping as it fires through the air and kind of whistles, and as it lobs straight into the almost right where Endless had shot him the first time, it hits. He goes, "Gah!" He doesn't even scream before it's muffled by a large explosion, and in fact you see several pieces of large splintered wood from the house just like fly off, and he himself is catapulted forward several feet before he has to kind of dodge roll and stand up, and now at this point looks at you and then looks at a different direction on the if you were to line it up on the other side of the tavern. You have a bonus action, and I'd say you still have like 25 feet of your movement.
Oh yeah, no, I have 2 actions actually. I got my bonus and I got my second wind or whatever. I'm gonna whistle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna whistle for Boulder to charge at him and
Where's
let
he
out.
been the whole time?
They've been following, just being
Yeah,
quiet.
they're there. Yeah.
Siegfried's been helping,
Yeah.
and Siegfried's been helping Hendrix, and so, but the Boulder does his elephant noise that she taught him to do as a war cry.
Sure.
As she charges, she's at him, and then what she does, she takes her arrow and pulls it back again. How's this guy looking, real quick?
I mean, he's taken 2 arrows to the shoulder. He doesn't look like he's about to pass out. These guys, may have not had a lot of experience with them yet, are pretty serious individuals.
She whispers again as the arrow now fills up with green Nordic symbols going to the top, and the arrowhead itself starts to glow like kind of like pulsating glow of green.
Sure.
And the arrow itself starts to have magical vines starting to go around it,
Sure.
wrapping around the Nordic runes and everything.
Right.
And she's gonna fire again.
So you fire once more. Okay, and this is your grasping arrow or whatever it's called.
Yep.
Okay, what save is that? A dex?
I have to look real quick. Okay, so I rolled a 11 plus my 9. That is 20 again.
That hits.
No. You rolled a 2 plus 9.
Oh, shit. Okay, 11.
11. Unfortunately, with the explosion and sending him forward, you try and take that opportunity to try and take a shot at him, but he lands and tucks and rolls just in such a way where right as he finishes his roll, the arrow strikes the ground right by it, and you see momentarily a bunch of brambles just kind of branch out and try to grab something that's not there before they wither away.
Dude, D&D Beyond hates me. I'm gonna go buy dice tomorrow.
Hey, sometimes you hit, sometimes you don't.
Oh no, dude, it's been the whole day. I've been rolling like fucking low all day. It's cool though.
You have a bonus action if you'd like to use it.
Oh, I'll just fire again.
I don't think you can with a bonus action.
Oh, I'll just have I'll tell Boulder to gore him.
Great. So, as he sort of like runs forward and does his little elephant war cry, he goes in for the attack. Go ahead and roll for that attack. That's going to be, it's just a d20 plus 4.
Okay. She just yells, Boulder, gore.
I'll be right back. 1 second.
Sure. He just kind of. I can't do it. I'm gonna do it one day.
See, I'm telling you, today it's hated me. It's a fucking 12.
Oh, once more, so Boulder actually gets right up in his face, and the gore attack is almost successful, but he's in enough time able to kind of grab the tusk and able to sort of like rodeo clown himself up as he brings in his chest to avoid most of the damage. Njal, it's your turn. Endless, you're up on deck.
Elder, I'm gonna have you just start rolling for me. I can't do this anymore.
I can. I mean, I was gonna offer it earlier, but yeah, I can.
It's been bullshit all day today.
Alright, so he's just like standing there, staring at his equipment in the corner and like next to all his smithing gear, and he's just like, no, I can't. As he starts to leave, like just thinking about watching his own weaponry attack his friends, he's like, I can't pick it up.
All right.
And he hops out and he runs and just like looks at Saffron, is like, where are they?
She just goes 45 feet, 45 straight ahead.
And right as she points it out, you do see the enemy that she was firing at is distinctly wearing a brown sort of nondescript leather cloak that hangs over the entire form with what seems to be like a black and gold Robin Hood hat that's sort of split right down the middle with a gold feather. Human male. You can see his face.
Okay, so Njal just tells Saffron, I don't know if you're pregnant or not, but try to stay safe and not get hit in the gut, I guess.
What a caring husband.
I mean, I do care if she is pregnant.
Yeah.
Once she's sick, I don't want her to get near, so I'm just like, try not to get hit. You're sick as it is, and if you are pregnant, even more so. And thinking on this, he's just like, ah! And rages. I can't be too loud. My roommate's sleeping, but and with just like cracking thunder with each step, the ground cracking and rocks flying with each thunderous, just mauling this fucking linebacker in his way on over there to hit him.
Okay. What's your full movement speed?
I can do 40 feet.
So you can get right up to him. He's like just out of your melee range.
Damn. I guess I'll just take the dash action to move 5 more feet up to him.
Okay, and it's at this point, not expecting to see a very large hulking mass come like towards him and fucking like splitting the ground as you run at it. He just kind of like almost jostles in place for a second before he like fumbles just briefly before he looks like he's going to pull a short sword.
I stare him straight into the face and I say, "My day's been pretty shitty for a while. So I'm gonna take out some anger on you, if that's fine. I don't even know who you are. I don't give two shits. But if my wife's attacking you, then you're dead. That's an intimidation
Yeah,
for
I was
that
gonna say,
one.
please roll for intimidation. I'll give you advantage on that shit, dude. Fuck yeah.
Well, that's a 18 plus 4, so that's a 22. That's a 5, so 22.
You just see him like you see that you got to him, but on instinct he still is like trying to get his weapons to his side. In fact, he pulls them out, and he's sporting blades almost identical to the ones that you've seen Endless wield. Endless, it's your turn.
Interesting.
You're muted, my friend.
I was trying to. I couldn't find where my
You're
mouse
on
was.
deck pocket.
All right. I'm gonna head and shoot another arrow. Oh shit! What the hell is that? 7.
7. It's actually the shot would have been nice, but Null, literally like a fucking train, is just instantly in front of this guy's and totally blocking your view. So you go to fire an arrow and hope that it hits, and it goes straight into the house right behind him. You have your second attack if you'd like to take it.
How far away are they?
From you, about 50 feet.
50. All right, we'll take another keen shot. Come on, dice, be fucking good. Son of a bitch. That's a. It's a 9.
9?
Aren't y'all at disadvantage because it's 150 to 600?
Oh no. He has up to 150 feet he can hit. Everything past 150 feet to 600 is at disadvantage.
Oh.
So, Endless, this time you fire your next arrow, and now that you missed your first shot, the gentleman that was spotted you originally trains his focus once more on you, and before the arrow can like go straight into his fucking forehead, he pulls his short sword out and fucking splits it, and it just like goes past his face. You have your movement and bonus action left if you'd like to use them.
Hell yeah, that's kind of cool.
Can I cast Hunter's Mark on him?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Well, I should have done that.
You train your
Yeah.
focus and you have major mark.
And then I want to move. Oh shit! How I can move 30? And you said they're about 50 feet away.
Yeah.
I want to move 30 feet closer.
And you do so. You kind of come up with a sprint in your step, and it's at this point the gentleman that you are all attacking is maybe starting to recognize that he is in a little bit of a situation. Now, it's you, Pocket. You're up on deck, man. I mean, it's your turn.
Far away am I?
Let's say you only got 10 feet away before we rolled for initiative, just to be nice.
Okay, so I'm like 60 feet away.
Yeah.
Okay. I would like to use my movement, walk up and kind of get in an angle like 30 feet from him
Sure.
so that Null's not in the way.
Okay.
And out of my bag of holding, I'll pull out my handy-dandy pistol.
Wait, he made it up to me? Damn, you can move quick.
No,
Well-
he only moved 30 feet closer to you, so he's within
Ah.
20 feet of the guy. Or 30
Ah.
feet, rather.
Yeah, I'm in 30 feet, so I like my helmet is loaded, but I just I kind of take a second and like do the arc, and I'm like, nah, it's not gonna work. And so then I just start unloading rounds on him.
Okay.
And so I'm gonna do Deadeye on both shots that I do,
Damn.
and then I'm gonna action surge and do 2 more shots, and one of them
Damn.
are gonna be Deadeye.
You're just
So I'm
gonna
gonna shoot him
fucking
4
load
times.
on. God damn. Alright, let's see it. And 2 of them are at
Damn.
advantage.
3 of them are advantage. I'm
Oh.
using all my grit
Oh,
points.
hell yeah. Let's see what you got, man.
Okay, so first one 23.
That hits.
Yeah.
Second one 23.
That hits.
Third one, 24.
Are you shitting me?
Dang,
And
you get
then-
you a
And
lot.
then this one's just a neutral roll.
Yeah, neutral is 20.
That hits.
Man, the dice liked you. Holy shit.
Please roll
And then-
damage.
I also have Piercer, so I can re-roll one of those die if I want.
Okay. You mean your damage die?
My damage die. So I'll re-roll one of them. I got a 2, and I just got a 7.
Nice.
So I did 10, 21, 41 points of damage. As I just say, and I'm like holding it sideways, like
Hold
I'm
that
Compton
thought.
style.
How do you want to do this? That fucking obliterates this guy's.
I'm
skull.
confused because those are all to hit damage. I don't see any damage.
So I roll it with my dice just because
Oh.
if I wanted to re-roll, it's just easier.
Oh
that
yeah,
way.
yeah.
Because D&D Beyond doesn't work with the feat that I got. I've already
You
tried. to
confused me,
figure it
man.
out.
You'll use D&D, but then you have your own. I'm like, wait, what?
Sorry. I can use it if that's easy.
No, you're
No. I wanted clarification. I was like, what? No, you're
So-
good, man.
So you.
I
lay
wanna
into
sh-
this guy.
So I don't want to kill him.
Okay.
It's non-lethal. And as I'm saying it, I just want to say, shoot, I kind of forgot my voice. God, now
There you go.
it goes.
Now you listen to me. If you ever come and show your face again, I will kill you.
And I just shoot
Shoulder
each
blade,
ligament.
Shoulder blade, fucking kneecap, fucking shin, and he's just like barely standing as he's just like fucking out of it. Looking at
Now.
Null.
You go tell whoever is above you to come see me, and that the same fate is gonna happen to them. And give me your hat.
He
You heard the man, I say.
he just looks at you, Null. Looks back at the man who just shot him 4 times, and like his arms are like not really working, but he like puts his head to the side and kind of nudges his hat off, barely catches it in his hand, sort of throws it to you, Null. It barely meets the ground before your feet, and he just like starts to like say thank you, and attempts to start like hobbling / run away. If anybody wants to do anything, they have. a
I
chance.
immediately opportunity attack him as soon as he moves.
How do you want to do this, Null?
I grab him as soon as he moves and pick him up over me and just rip him in half. Just blood just draining on top of him.
Yeah, you just see some intestines just kind of drape down, and you just kind of throw the corpse, and you see the 3 gentlemen sitting on their stoop just kind of like cough, and just continue to spit in their can as Endless. You look over at Null, literally just tearing a person in half in front of you. We're gonna say we're out of combat now, and he is no longer living.
Wait, where's the other one though?
There was only one scene.
Okay.
I like to grab the hat and put it in my bag of holding.
I pick up the hat for him, just completely drenched in this man's guts and blood, and I just like, here's your hat.
You turn around and you see him like standing there about to holster his pistol in his back in his bag, while it's still like smoking. As you all sort of regain yourselves in the middle of this podunk town, to consider what that just was, we'll leave that off for tonight.
Awesome.
Damn.
It's so good.
Wow.
Dude.
What a fucking session.
What a fucking
Yeah, that was
session
fantastic.
indeed.
I was so shocked how light you were letting us go. I was like, he is really into it. Awesome.
Yeah, man, that was some good shit right there.